Chapter 80. Chapter 80. The Earthly Dragon List. By Chung. It's Bai Chung. Following Su Lai's gaze, the crowd immediately saw a white-haired man dressed in a white garment on the edge of the martial arts practice field. White hair like snow. Bai Chung was the top person of Dragon Palace. As everyone was looking at Su Lai, no one noticed Bai Cheng's arrival. Su Lai, I hope I didn't upset you. Bai Chung squinted at Su Lai. You don't provoke me, but just looking at you puts me in a bad mood. What can you do? If you feel bad, we can play a game and take a bet. Su Lai sneered and gave a bold look. Bai Cheng's countenance was clouded and he shouted in a low voice. You don't get it. One day sooner or later, I'll beat you down completely. Haha, I'm waiting, but before this you can think of ways to climb up the earthly dragon list. Su Lai smiled and then left. Humps. Bai Chung gave a cold grunt and then left. This scene made many disciples of Dragon Palace on the martial arts practice field look confused. It's said that Bai Chung is the strongest disciple in the Dragon Palace. But why do I perceive that Bai Chung seemed to be afraid of Su Lai? I don't think so. I think that Bai Chung doesn't dare to battle with Su Lai. What on earth happened? Those disciples of Dragon Palace were confounded, as were Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan. Soon after, people on the martial arts practice field began to disperse. In the Dragon Palace. Palace Master White. Appearing in front of Palace Master White, Su Lai said with great respect but not the previous superciliousness on the martial arts practice field, I have given Swordsman and Yang Zixuan some lessons based on your order. Okay. I have seen it. Good job. Palace Master White nodded slightly and said, Swordsman and Yang Zixuan have high talent, especially Swordsman. 3 months ago he merely was at the 4th level, but now he is qualified to go through the 7th level. In the history of our Dragon Palace, only several people could match with him in terms of the speed of his advancement. I have great hopes for him. However, we should give them some obstacles. After all, they are still rookies. Hearing this, Su Lai could not help pursing his lips. It was known that he was similar to Jian Wushuang when he joined the Dragon Palace. He did not put other disciples of Dragon Palace in his eyes. But Palace Master White also asked a powerhouse to let him face some obstacles. He was badly defeated in that battle. He became more humble after that. Oh. In the manor, Jian Wushuang and another 3 people were drinking, sitting at a stone desk. Haha. I'm very happy looking at the defeated countenance of Nangong Jia. Wang Yuan sneered. He's arrogant and shameless. He is only at the level of the profound gold core realm. But he still wanted to vanquish third brother by the consumption of the spiritual power. What a foolish man. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly and said, Nangong Jia is not important seeing how he's not a threat in the future. As for Su Lai, his strength still shocks me until now. So do I. Yang Zixuan also nodded. I thought that the people who could be qualified to be my rival in the whole Dragon Palace was only Bai Chung. However, it's not the case now. Dragon Palace is not as simple as it appears, Su Ro on the side said with low voice. I have gone through the 7th level, so I know something. Though there are only 16 people that have passed through the 7th level, there are many others who have the strength to go through it. But they don't do it, so nobody knows them. I conservatively estimate that there are at least 30 people that have the strength to pass through the 7th level, or even the 8th level. On the surface, there is only Bai Chung and your second brother going through the 8th level. But in fact, there are at least 5 people who can complete it. Su Lai is one of those 5. Su Lai has reached the level of exceptional gold core realm a long time ago, so Bai Chung would be vanquished if they battle, although Bai Cheng's comprehension of the essence realm of heaven and earth is higher than his. So that's what it is. It could be the reason that Bai Chung seems not to dare to battle Su Lai. Yang Zixuan nodded secretly. We all looked down on Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang shook his head and smiled. By the way, what is the earthly dragon list Su Lai mentioned? I know it, Wang Yuan said this time. Earthly Dragon List, set by the Golden Dragon Palace, lists the 100 strongest powerhouses of all experts of the Gold Core realm in the Tianzong dynasty. If someone can be listed on Earthly Dragon List, he would stand at the top of pyramid of all those of the Gold Core. All of them could vanquish those at the primordial Gold Core. The higher rank, the greater the strength. It said that the experts ranked at the top 10 of Earthly Dragon list could match or even kill warriors at the level of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was shocked. Match, even kill the warriors of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. It should be known that the gap between Spiritual Sea Realm and Gold Core was huge. And the gap between Gold Core and Yin-Yang Void Realm was even larger. A warrior of Primordial Golden Pill Realm was like a monster if he could match with a warrior of Yin-Yang Void Realm. It would be legendary if a warrior of Primordial Gold Core killed a warrior of Yin-Yang Void Realm. It's true. Each powerhouse listed in the top 10 of the Earthly Dragon list has this ability. Wang Yuan continued saying, by the way, the Earth Dragon list seems to be at the secret pavilion. If you are curious about it, you can swap points for it and read it carefully. Okay. Jian Wushuang left toward the secret pavilion without any hesitation. Hearing this, he was filled with ambition to rise on the Earthly Dragon list. Soon after, Jian Wushuang was back. He swapped 100 points for an Earthly Dragon list in the secret pavilion. Although it was called a list, it was a thick book. Jian Wushuang opened the first page. Tianzong Dynasty is vast and is filled with talented heroes. Over time, old people are replaced by new people. Lots of heroes die and are forgotten. Our Golden Dragon Palace compiles the Earthly Dragon list and the Heavenly Dragon list by recording the heroes in the Tianzong Dynasty. Earth Dragon list record the 100 strongest of the Primordial Golden Pill Realm in our Tianzong Dynasty. Jian Wushuang was fascinated. There is not only the Earth Dragon list but also the Heavenly Dragon list. The Earthly Dragon list records the experts of the Primordial Gold Core, and the Heavenly Dragon list should record those of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. Jian Wushuang kept reading. The 100 superiors of the Golden Pill Realm on the Earthly Dragon list all had outstanding battle results and their strength was recognized by many sects. If you want to be listed on the Earth Dragon list, you need great battle results. Reading the first page, Jian Wushuang continued reading the second page right now. There were some introductions of the 100 powerhouses listed on the Earth Dragon list on the second page. Chapter 81. Chapter 81 Mission Assigned. Ranked the 100th on the Earthly Dragon list, Fire Fairy was a solo powerhouse who had achieved the peak of Fulfillment Realm of Jindan. She is eccentric and has many enemies. She also excels at marksmanship and has a comprehension of raging fire. A half-year ago by herself, she killed 5 opponents who had achieved the exceptional Gold Core Realm at Sunset Ridge over the body of a spiritual beast. 2 months ago, she beat Mount, the former 100th expert on the list, and replaced him. The 99th on the list is Luo Ao. Jian Wushuang carefully read the introductions and combat abilities of every expert. The person who was 94th on the list was surprisingly the tyrant Su Lai. Su Lai, Jian Wushuang said with surprise. Yang Zixuan, Wang Yuan and Su Rou beside him came closer. Su Lai, a bad-tempered disciple of Dragon Palace, was known for his aggression and excellence at exceptional Gold Core Realm, raging fire and brutal fist position. He once fought against 13 Gold Core warriors, among which 8 achieved the exceptional Gold Core Realm, and killed 11 of them, including 7 of the 8. 2 survived and he only had a minor injury. What Jian Wushuang saw really shocked him. Su Lai by himself could unexpectedly kill 11 of the 13 Primordial Gold Core with only 2 surviving and escaping. It was no wonder that there was a saying that any powerhouse on the list is able to beat a large group of people of exceptional Gold Core Realm. Su Lai is really tough, said Yang Zixuan seriously. It made sense that Bai Cheng dare not fight him, said Wang Yuan. Jian Wushuang kept reading. The list revealed all the names of powerhouses and their achievements. Jian Wushuang soon read the top 5. The person who ranked the 5th was Barbarian King Qingsong, a disciple of Dragon Palace, who achieved the peak of exceptional Gold Core Realm. The 4th was Feng Yutian, who belonged to Gladiator Arena, who achieved the peak of exceptional Gold Core Realm. The 3rd was Mu Yingying, a member of the Mu clan, who achieved the peak of exceptional Gold Core Realm. The 2nd was Bai Liken, a disciple of Dragon Palace, who achieved the peak of exceptional Gold Core Realm. The 1st was Shui Yun from Bloodfeather Tower, who achieved the profound Gold Core Realm. Shui Yun from Bloodfeather Tower, said Jian Wushuang with cold eyes. How could Shui Yun rank first on the list by merely achieving the profound gold core realm? Yang Zixuan and other people wondered. Check his combat achievements. Jian Wushuang also saw his achievements. The list read, a year ago by Lycan, the second on the list, and Barbarian King Qingsong, the fifth, joined hands to fight Shui Yun outside the Imperial Palace, and this only ended in a draw. The description of this was simple but shocked all of them, because the top 5 on the list could even contend against Yinyang Void Realm, and yet the 2 of them against him could only end in a draw. Meanwhile, Shui Yun had merely achieved profound gold core realm. I now understand why Dragon Palace is reputed as the cultivation sanctuary, said Yang Zixuan suddenly. Exactly, nodded Jian Wushuang. 16 of 100 primordial gold core on Earthly Dragon list were disciples of Dragon Palace, and there were even 3 in the top 10. Jian Wushuang could not help but admire how outstanding Dragon Palace was. Among 100 people on the list, there were 16 of disciples of Dragon Palace, 9 from Gladiator Arena and 3 from Bloodfeather Tower. Although there were 3 people from Bloodfeather Tower on the list, this did not mean that these experts were inferior to those from Gladiator Arena. As the tower was an assassin's organization, members in it seldom exposed their true abilities and nobody knew if they were able to be placed on the list. Apart from the 3 hegemons, the 7 ancient clans of Tianzong dynasty were home to various talents and more than 10 of them were named on the list. There were also many solitary experts. Among 100 experts on the list were nearly 40 solitary experts. I have never seen any disciple of Dragon Palace named on the list with the exception of Su Lai, said Jian Wushuang. Me neither, said Wang Yuan. As those disciples left the palace long time ago, it is rare to meet them. The palace, however, held regular annual meetings, during which many strong disciples on or off the list would be back, said Su Ro. Really? Asked Jian Wushuang with a smile. Right about that time, whoosh, a person in a white robe appeared in the manor. Jian Wushuang and his companions hurried to stand up. Palace Master White. The 4 people gave a salute to him. Swordsman and Yang Zixuan, an expert in the world, could only emerge from countless trials and tribulations. As we know this, we assign missions to our disciples at intervals to train them, said Palace Master White with his hands behind his back. You 2 have been here for 3 months and it is time to receive your first mission. Saying that, the master produced 2 beams of light with his hands. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan took them and saw 3 minor scrolls. As you 2 are at different stages, one in the spiritual sea realm and the other at primordial gold core, I have assigned you 2 different missions. But both of your missions have 3 stages which are already on your scrolls. You'd only see the next one after completing the former one, the master said. Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang directly opened up the first scroll. My first objective is to become a 2-clawed golden dragon guard by finishing the guard mission. Perform it in the innumerable huge mountains. The reward for completion of the task was to get 2,000 points. Jian Wushuang's complexion immediately turned strange as soon as he saw the introduction of the task. As there were many 2-clawed golden dragon guard tasks including those of any golden dragon subsidiary palace of Tianzong dynasty, but the master appointed me to complete the mission in the innumerable huge mountains. After that, Jian Wushuang came to understand that his second and third assignments were likely to be finished in the mountains. Tasks are now assigned and you may set off as soon as possible. You can only return to the palace after completion of the assignments, said the master with a light smile and left. Chapter 82. Chapter 82, Meeting with Yi Roughing Again. My brothers, what is your task? Wang Yuan immediately came close as soon as Palace Master White left. Damn it, 2-clawed golden dragon guard? Wang Yuan screamed after he saw Jian Wushuang's task. Dragon Palace is so cruel. They made you complete the task of a 2-clawed golden dragon guard, when you are just a warrior of spiritual sea. Jian Wushuang smiled awkwardly. There had always been a huge risk in Golden Dragon Guard's mission. Normally, 1-clawed Golden Dragon Guard missions were completed by a warrior reaching the peak of exceptional spiritual sea realm, while 2-clawed Golden Dragon Guard missions would be finished by primordial gold core, the peak of initial gold core realm, or even the profound gold core realm. It was a joke that a spiritual sea realm was even sent to complete a 2-clawed golden dragon guard mission. Jian Wushuang, however, was totally different from other ordinary warriors because he was a disciple of Dragon Palace. He showed how outstanding he was by beating Nangong Jia of Profound Gold Core Realm. It seems ridiculous to ask a warrior of level of spiritual sea to achieve that, but actually it is not too difficult for me. The real arduous one, I thought, was at the second and the third stage because I don't even know what they are, said Jian Wushuang with a smile. He was more curious about the tasks at the last 2 stages. He had scrolls in his hands, but he did not open them in a hurry. Brother, your first stage mission was simple, said Jian Wushuang when he had a glance at the scroll in Yang Zishuan's hands. Yang Zishuan's first mission was to kill a warrior of Profound Gold Core Realm who could be killed easily by him, although the warrior was good. When do you plan to set off? Said Yang Zishuan. I am going to visit Secret Pavilion and then leave directly. What about you? Said Jian Wushuang. I will go now, answered Yang Zishuan. Good luck, said Jian Wushuang and left for Secret Pavilion immediately. With lots of points he purchased as many elixir pills as possible. First class Heavenly Spirit Pill was worth 20 points, and he surprisingly spent 1,000 points buying 50. He had no alternative. Other people may reach the peak of exceptional spiritual sea realm from initial spiritual sea realm with the use of 10 pills. Jian Wushuang, however, was different, because he needed too much spiritual power to support his ultimate spiritual sea. It was questionable whether he would be able to reach stage 3 from stage 2 of ultimate spirit sea. What's more, he also spent 1,200 points buying pills for treatment. After his preparation he set off. Oh, the innumerable huge mountains contained hundreds of mountains. The vast space and dangers in it were on another level compared to the dark forest. Moon Heart City was located at the foot of great mountains. Whoosh! A huge figure dived sharply in the vast place outside the city. That was a big spiritual beast, griffin, with huge wings carrying a man on its back. Jian Wushuang directly jumped off its back and said, "Thank you," to Golden Armored Sergeant. Nodded with a smile, the sergeant left riding the griffin. As the city was very far away from Dragon Palace, it could take him over half a month, but now he just spent less than half a day by taking the beast. Of course he paid 100 points for that. After entering the city, Jian Wushuang went straight to the crowded and noisy Golden Dragon subsidiary palace. When he came to the counter, an old man behind the counter asked, "Can I help you?" Jian Wushuang took out the pledge as a disciple of Dragon Palace, which surprised the man. The man immediately said, "Master, this way please." Saying that, the man led him to the cellar. There was a man there who seemed cold. By coincidence he knew Jian Wushuang. "Your Excellency," said Jian Wushuang with surprise. "Swordsman? I didn't expect that you were here," said the cold man with a smile when he saw Jian Wushuang. The man's name was Yi Rufeng, the Golden Dragon Ambassador, who had actually brought him to Dragon Palace. "His Excellency, you know each other?" said the old man in confusion. "We can handle this, you can go," said Yi Rufeng. "Yes, Your Excellency," the elder immediately retreated. "Haha. Nice to see you again, brother," said Yi Rufeng with a big laugh. "What a coincidence," Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "Come on and have a seat." After sitting on chairs in the cellar, Yi Rufeng asked, "Brother, you were supposed to cultivate in the palace. Why did you come here? Did you get mission?" As a Golden Dragon Ambassador of Golden Dragon Palace, Yi Rufeng knew about the Dragon Palace and understood that their disciples often received assignments from it. "I am on my mission as a 2-clawed Golden Dragon Guard, and the destination was innumerable huge mountains," Jian Wushuang said. "What? You are here for a 2-clawed Golden Dragon Guard mission?" Yi Rufeng asked in shock. "Yes, what's wrong?" asked Jian Wushuang with confusion, and he did not know why Yi Rufeng overreacted. "Haha, that's great. To tell you the truth, we actually were going to ask you to do us a favor," said Yi Rufeng with a joy. "What is that?" asked Jian Wushuang with a smile. He could enter the palace just because of Yi Rufeng's recommendation and he owed him, so Jian Wushuang would not decline it if it was not to the death. "Follow me," said Yi Rufeng and took him to another hidden cellar of the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace. There was a girl in purple practicing swordsmanship. Phew. 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 The sword shadow was actually not bad. She is? Asked Jian Wushuang looking at the girl. Although the girl was young, she, with exquisite swordsmanship, reached level of primordial gold core. What most impressed people was that the girl unexpectedly comprehended the level of waterdrop essence, although she was not yet high in it. Chapter 83. Chapter 83 May. The purple-clothed lady quickly finished practicing her swordsmanship, finally placing her sword back into its sheath. "Mayor, come here." Yi Ruffing lightly beckoned her. The purple-clothed lady immediately ran to Yi Ruffing and said, "Father. Father." Jian Wushuang was shocked. "Brother Swordsman, this is my daughter Yi Mei. Today she accepted a 2-clawed Gold Dragon Guard mission in the Gold Dragon subsidiary palace," Yi Ruffing said. "Oh." Jian Wushuang smiled silently. He immediately understood what Yi Ruffing wanted to request from him. "Mayor, this is Swordsman, a brother of mine. Since you insist on doing the mission, I ask Swordsman to accompany you. That way, he can take care of you on the way," Yi Ruffing said to Yi Mei. "Him?" Yi Mei looked at Jian Wushuang coldly and said, "He is just a warrior in the spiritual sea realm. He has not even reached the primordial gold core realm. It's not him taking care of me, but me taking care of him." An expert of the gold core realm possessed a distinctive aura, so one glance was enough for Yi Mei to know that Jian Wushuang did not have a gold core. "You don't understand. Brother Swordsman is a disciple of Dragon Palace," Yi Ruffing replied. "A disciple of Dragon Palace?" Yi Mei was a little bit shocked and gave Jian Wushuang another glance. But what followed was her sneering again before saying, "So what? Even if he has a lot of talent, he is still only in the spiritual sea realm. If he uses his full strength, he is only the equal of someone in the initial gold core realm. How is he qualified to take care of me?" No sooner than the words had been uttered by Yi Mei, she directly left the secret chamber, not even speaking one more word to Jian Wushuang and Yi Ruffing. "She is." Yi Ruffing looked a little bit awkward, and then he quickly apologized. "Sorry, Brother Swordsman, my daughter was very impolite." "It's okay." Jian Wushuang shook his head and replied. He was not mad at all. "Mayor is such a stubborn and arrogant girl." "But it's my fault," Yi Ruffing said, then lightly sighed. Her mother died when Mayor was a child. Being her father and a golden dragon messenger, I spent most of my time dealing with public affairs. Because of that, I failed in taking care of her well. Over the years, she has taken care of herself on her own. I guess that helped create her current personality." "I see." Jian Wushuang nodded and then asked, "Ambassador Yi, your purpose in coming was just to help her with the mission?" "Yes." Yi Ruffing continued, "Mayor is too arrogant. She is anxious to become a 2-clawed gold dragon guard. But she only achieved the primordial gold core realm half a month ago. What's more, the location for the mission is the innumerable huge mountains, which is extremely dangerous on the inside. Considering she could have an accident, I tried to stop her, but she would not listen to me. However, at that time you arrived." Yi Ruffing looked at Jian Wushuang and pleaded, "Brother Swordsman, since you are going to the innumerable huge mountains for the same mission, I want you to do me a favor and with Mayor, to watch out for her on the way." "Okay, no problem." Jian Wushuang agreed without hesitation. "Haha, that is great. I am relieved that I can leave her to you," Yi Ruffing said with a smile. He knew Jian Wushuang's strength well. He could easily kill experts in the initial gold core realm, even before he was a disciple of Dragon Palace. Now he had spent time in a holy place for cultivators like Dragon Palace for 3 months, so his strength should be much greater than before. Oh, the next day, outside Moon Heart City, the 8 people who accepted the 2-clawed Gold Dragon Guard mission had all arrived. Among them, only Jian Wushuang was in the spiritual sea realm, so naturally he stood out from the crowd. Why is there a warrior in the spiritual sea realm here? Who brought him here? Taking a 2-clawed Gold Dragon Guard mission with someone in the spiritual sea realm. Is this a joke? Several eyes that were as sharp as a blade glared at Jian Wushuang. A few of them even shouted at him. It was common knowledge that 2-clawed Gold Dragon Guard missions were extremely risky. Even if they were all in the primordial gold core realm, the mission would still be quite a challenge. Not to mention now, with someone in the spiritual sea realm dragging them down. Hey boy, who allowed you to take this task? Get out of here. A heavily built man with whiskers howled angrily. Jian Wushuang gave the man a glance and said, Idiot. Why can't warriors in the spiritual sea realm accept a 2-clawed gold dragon guard mission? Boy, what are you talking about? The whiskered man shouted in rage. All right, everybody shut up. A yell was heard, coming from a black-robed man. The black-robed man was the only 2-clawed gold dragon guard among the 8 people who were present. He was also the initiator of this mission, while the remaining 7 were just 1-clawed golden dragon guards. Among the 8 there were obvious disparities in strength. 2 had achieved the profound gold core realm, including the black-robed man. 1 was a warrior in the spiritual sea realm, which was Jian Wushuang. The other 6 were all in the initial gold core realm. Boy, no matter how you got the 2-clawed gold dragon guard mission, I have to inform you that it's not a mission that just anyone can easily accomplish. Also, opportunism will not work on this mission. The black-robed man stared at Jian Wushuang and rumbled. In addition, this mission was initiated by me. So I can tell you guys clearly, although you 7 accepted the mission simultaneously, only 5 at most can accomplish the task. That is to say, 2 of you are doomed to fail this mission. And you will have to rely on your own strength to decide if you can be one of those 5 who accomplish the task. Hearing this, everybody present looked serious, except for Jian Wushuang. Did you hear that, boy? Only 5 can accomplish the task. You are only at the spiritual sea realm. Do you think you can accomplish the mission? How ridiculous! The heavily built man with whiskers shouted and sneered. It's not something you get to decide. Jian Wushuang replied, without even giving him a glance. What an arrogant boy. Just wait, you will have your chance to be arrogant once the mission begins, the whiskery man said coldly. If everybody is ready, then let's go. No sooner than the black-robed man uttered this, the 8 warriors left for the innumerable huge mountains. On the way, the purple-clothed lady Yi Mei walked up to Jian Wushuang. Didn't I tell you I don't need anyone to take care of me? Yi Mei whispered. I owe your father a favor. What's more, I am also taking this mission, so I just have to watch out for you at my convenience, Jian Wushuang replied. With only your strength? You should give priority to your own safety, since I don't want you to run to me once you are in danger, Yi Mei said, then sneered. Don't worry. If I was in danger, then you would have already died long before that, Jian Wushuang said. Hearing what Jian Wushuang said, Yi Mei half closed her eyes. Her dislike for Jian Wushuang grew stronger. I cannot believe that the legendary disciples in Dragon Palace are as arrogant as you. Having finished her words, Yi Mei quickened her pace and glided ahead of Jian Wushuang. Chapter 84. Chapter 84. Innumerable huge mountains. Enormous forests and numerous spirit beasts were spread throughout the innumerable huge mountains. And apparently these spiritual beasts were much stronger than those in the dark forest. Likewise, the innumerable huge mountains are much more dangerous than the dark forest. A sudden loud thump disturbed the tranquility of the forest. Pung! Following that, a human could be heard laughing before he said, Haha, just a spiritual beast in the initial gold core realm. You were doomed the second you met me. Taishan, don't waste your time, let's keep going. A black-robed man, the leader, said in a low voice. I'm coming, said Taishan, a strong man with a big mustache, laughing while holding a spirit beast core in his hand. Every spirit beast in the gold core realm has beast core that is very valuable. It had been 2 days since the 8 of them had entered the innumerable huge mountains, so they knew very little about each other. But they at least knew each other's names. The 2 men leading them were strongest, having reached the profound gold core realm. The black-robed man was known as Ba Yan. As for the other, he was called Taishan. He was a burly man with a big mustache, who liked to argue with Jian Wushuang. The 8 continued to move forward, deeper into the innumerable huge mountains. But a short while later, they suddenly halted on a treetop. What is it? They stood on the treetop and looked down. There were many dead bodies laying parallel to each other, spread out on the ground. Let's check the area, said Ba Yan. Following his words, everyone went down to the ground, carefully checking the bodies. Jian Wushuang also approached one of the dead bodies. This is a sword scar? Seeing the deadly scar on the neck of the dead body, Jian Wushuang became alert. Apparently, the scar was not caused by a spirit beast, but a sword. Thus, Jian Wushuang looked around and noticed that they all died the same way. Nothing but a sword scar was found on each one of them. They were killed in one move without a chance to fight back. Whoever did this was much stronger than them, Jian Wushuang said with a dark expression. These people, Min also looked while feeling overwhelmed. They were killed by a human hand, and probably all by the same one. Jian Wushuang said. Human. Yimei changed her look all of a sudden. They have not been dead for long, which means that the killers might still be in the area. Jian Wushuang checked the bloodstains on the dead bodies once again. It was obvious that they were killed just minutes ago because the bloodstains were not dry yet. Besides that, there were so many spirit beasts in innumerable huge mountains. If they had been dead for long, their bodies should have been eaten by those spirit beasts already, in which case they would no longer be completely intact. All of you need to be careful. Spirit beasts are not the most dangerous threat here. Other humans can be even more dangerous, Ba Yan said with a serious look. Everyone nodded. They all knew that human beings are more dangerous than spirit beasts, since this was not the first time that they had accepted a mission from the Golden Dragon Guard. Captain Ba Yan, you are being too paranoid. Look at the people who were killed. Only 4 of them reached the initial Gold Core realm, while the rest were merely in the Spiritual Sea realm. Now look at our group. We are much stronger than them, aren't we? They won't have the guts to mess with us, said Taishan in a disapproving tone. Just be careful anyway, Ba Yan said. Let's keep going. Thus, the 8 continued their journey. Finally, half a day later, they arrived at the destination. In front of them was a thick mountain forest. Alright, now I can tell you what the specific mission is. Ba Yan looked at the 7 people and said seriously, in the forest in front of us, there are 2 blue-eyed beasts with golden horns. I accidentally saw them while passing through here previously. The blue-eyed beast with golden horns has a coarse appearance. Both its skin and bones are excellent materials for making weapons, not to mention the golden horns. On top of that, its core is also quite valuable. Its whole body is a treasure. That's why I set up the mission at the Golden Dragon Palace. All you need to do is help me kill the 2 beasts. Everyone became alert. A blue-eyed beast with golden horns. How many gold horns do they have? Someone quickly asked. For blue-eyed beasts with golden horns, the more horns they have, the more powerful they are. One has 3 golden horns and the other has 2, so they are absolutely within our ability. As for the requirement for completing the mission, that would be obtaining a golden horn. However, there are only 5 golden horns altogether. After hearing that, all 7 of them had a strange look on their faces. The blue-eyed beast with 3 golden horns is the most powerful among spirit beasts in the profound Gold Core realm. Normal warriors in the profound Gold Core realm cannot match up to it at all. By comparison, the one with 2 horns is less powerful, but it could still fight on even terms with a human in the profound Gold Core realm. With their current group, it would be easy to deal with the 2 blue-eyed beasts with golden horns. There was only one problem. 7 people accepted the mission, but there were not enough horns for everyone to complete the mission. 7 people wanted to obtain the 5 golden horns, which meant 2 of them were doomed to fail this mission. As for who would finish and who fail, Ba Yan didn't say a word because everyone understood it would depend on how capable they were. Although the 2 clawed missions are not as cruel as the 1 clawed missions, it is still full of danger. 7 people and 5 golden horn. Eventually, there will be a deadly struggle to decide who succeeds. Jian Wushuang thought secretly. They are in the same forest, but the forest is big, and they don't always stay together. However, once one of them is in danger, the other will immediately come. So we have to split up. Ba Yan began to make the arrangements. Everyone listen up. Taishan, Wang Chong, Lin Yu and I will deal with the 3-horned beast. The rest of you. Ba Yan looked at the other 4 and said, you 4 are not as powerful, but you can still deal with the 2-horned beast. After you finish, you are free to decide who gets the horns. What do you say? Okay, not a problem, Taishan said and smiled. I agree. Wang Chong and Lin Yu also nodded. Taishan, Wang Chong and Lin Yu agreed without any hesitation, because they knew they can finish the mission by killing the blue-eyed beast with 3 golden horns and get 3 golden horns, and distribute them evenly. But the rest 4 of them didn't look well except Jian Wushuang, because they knew that only 2 golden horns would be gained after killing the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, which means that 2 of them are doomed to fail this mission. They are reluctant to do this, but they have to. After all, they are not powerful enough in terms of their cultivation of spiritual power. Since you all agreed, it's settled then, here we go, Baya said, and the 8 soon divided into 2 groups moving toward the forest. Chapter 85. Chapter 85. The Accident. The 4, including Jian Wushuang, hastily and quietly went ahead in the forest. Boom! A huge roar could be heard nearby with the bright sound of animals. They have launched their attack, proclaimed Yi Mei. We need to find the 2-horned beast quickly and begin our attack as well, the indigo-robed man said. You don't need to find it because it is running towards us, Jian Wushuang said immediately. The other 3, including Yi Mei, had no time to figure out what was happening because the humongous 2-horned rhino appeared in front of them while knocking down rows of trees. The blue-eyed rhino with 2 horns. They were shocked. Kill it! Without hesitation, all 4 of them began releasing their spiritual power, after which they launched their attacks. Among the 4 warriors, the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man quickly displayed their strength. With one using an axe while the other used a long spear, they launch a powerful attack toward the incoming blue-eyed rhino. Jian Wushuang also immediately launched an attack with his sword, releasing power equivalent to the initial gold core realm. Among them, Yi Mei seemed to be the strongest. Swish! As she attacked, a streak of sword shadow using water drop sword essence slashed towards the blue-eyed rhino. Before landing on its body, the sword shadow split into 3 dazzling streaks of sword light. Impressive swordsmanship, the indigo-robed man exclaimed. Jian Wushuang frowned and shook his head. Her swordsmanship is good, but she is too naive and hasty. Jian Wushuang understood clearly. Killing the blue-eyed rhino was not a problem. The real issue was the fight over the 2 horns. However, since Yi Mei showed her strength already, the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man would be cautious around Yi Mei. Jian Wushuang noticed that the indigo-robed man seemed to be shocked by Yi Mei. In fact, both of them had a weird look in their eyes. Jian Wushuang immediately knew that as soon as the blue-eyed rhino was dead, both men would work together and launch a sneak attack on Yi Mei for the sake of acquiring the horns. Clang! 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 Although the attack landed on the blue-eyed rhino's body, only 3 white marks were left behind on its hard shell. The shell is too hard. Aim for the stomach, it should be softer and it's not protected by the shell. Jian Wushuang shouted. I do not need your advice. Yi Mei glanced at him before launching an attack towards the blue-eyed rhino's belly. Howl! As the blue-eyed rhino roared, it stomped on the ground with its hooves, causing the ground to tremble. Then it lowered its head, pointing the 2 horns at Yi Mei, and attacked. It charged straight towards Yi Mei with its golden horns. But it was so big and awkward Yi Mei easily moved around it and let it pass. Kill it quickly. It's trying to run away. The indigo-robed man was attacking as he exclaimed happily. Although the blue-eyed rhino had great defense, it was still just a beast. Jian Wushuang and the others worked together to attack it. In particular, Yi Mei aggressively attacked the beast's belly. As a result, the blue-eyed rhino had already reached its limit. It is going to die. Yi Mei had a delighted look on her face, but she still felt contempt towards Jian Wushuang. She had played the biggest part in killing this blue-eyed rhino. Of course, the other 3 did work together and assist her. But Jian Wushuang only helped to prevent the beast from escaping, so it wasn't odd that she felt contempt towards him. With this level of strength, you thought you could help me? Yi Mei thought. But at this moment, a violently rampaging spiritual power appeared as a 2-meter-tall figure jumped out of the forest. Not good. Another beast. It's a Herculean demonic monkey. Profound gold core realm. Yi Mei and the indigo-robed man were shocked when it appeared, causing their expressions to become slightly pale. Even a normal Herculean demonic monkey is powerful, let alone this one, which is in the profound gold core realm. the Herculean demonic monkey in the profound gold core realm, was stronger than them since they were in the initial gold core realm. This is a catastrophe. Yi Mei's face turned pale. Oh. You three should finish killing the blue-eyed rhino. I will deal with the Herculean demonic monkey, Jian Wuxiang said in a deep voice. When Yi Mei looked towards Jian Wuxiang, he had already rushed towards the Herculean demonic monkey. A Herculean demonic monkey at the profound gold core realm. Jian Wuxiang smiled, releasing a strong spiritual power that surpassed the spiritual sea realm. At the same time, a massive amount of earth sword essence began to fill the area. The seventh move of the formless sword wave. As he shouted, his triple kill sword moved to attack the beast. Countless sword shadows gathered together to form an immensely heavy mountain, which began descending towards Herculean demonic monkey. Damn humans! The Herculean demonic monkey's eyes turned red as it launched an attack that seemed to be able to shatter heaven and earth. Yi Mei and the indigo-robed man were shocked when they saw this. That guy, does he want to die? With his strength, he shouldn't even be able to defend against a Herculean demonic monkey in the profound gold core realm. Yet, he dared to attack it head-on. He must want to die. Stupid! Yi Mei cursed him. Herculean demonic monkeys were known for their strength. Even if a warrior in the same realm was fighting with it, they would be careful and would avoid facing its strength head-on power. Let alone Jian Wuxiang, who was only in the spiritual sea realm. He must be crazy. Yi Mei and the indigo-robed man thought Jian Wuxiang had lost his mind. What happened next surprised all three of them. Boom! When they saw what happened, they were shocked by Jian Wuxiang. The beast, which reached the profound gold core realm, flew out like a bullet, smashing into a tree that was more than 10 meters behind it. Boom! The tree, unable to withstand the impact from the Herculean demonic monkey, was smashed to pieces. Chapter 86. Chapter 86. Jian Wuxiang's strength. How could that be? The indigo-robed man's eyes almost fell out their sockets. This is impossible. The other purple-haired middle-aged man was also completely shocked. Is this the real strength of the disciples of Dragon Palace? Yi Mei also had unprecedented shock in her eyes. It was an unstoppable force versus an immovable object, when a warrior at the level of spiritual sea confronted the Herculean demonic monkey with profound gold core realm. As a result, would the Herculean demonic monkey decide to escape? Quick! Kill the blue-eyed beast with golden horns. After a brief shock, the indigo-robed man reacted first and shouted loudly. Yi Mei was startled and the harsh light in her eyes flashed. Wow! The sword light roared out instantly with astonishing power. Her strength at the moment erupted to the extreme. She did not know how long Jian Wuxiang could delay the Herculean demonic monkey, so she had to battle quickly to force an outcome. Go to hell! The indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man also shot out at full force at the moment. As their power was unleashed, the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, who had already been pushed to the limit, immediately lost its struggle and was killed directly. When the blue-eyed beast with golden horns died, the two golden horns on its foreheads immediately became the target. Golden horns. Yi Mei rolled her eyes and went towards the blue-eyed beast with golden horns. Grab them quickly! The indigo-robed man suddenly burst out shouting, followed by a sound of humming, and a towering axe shadow chopped towards Yi Mei suddenly. What? Yi Mei was shocked and quickly wielded her sword to resist. As the axe shadow heavily hit on her long sword, Yi Mei backed sharply. Ha ha! When the laughter sounded and Yi Mei was retreating, the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man rushed to the dead body of the blue-eyed beast with golden horns immediately. Then they removed the two golden horns of the blue-eyed beast with golden horns with giant axes. After 4 blows in succession, they finally detached the two golden horns. 2 golden horns immediately fell into the hands of the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man. You two! Yi Mei, armed with a long sword, glared at the 2 men in front of her with fury in her eyes. All is fair in war, little girl. Thank you for killing the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, but these 2 golden horns belong to us. The indigo-robed man smiled. Bastard! Yi Mei was becoming more furious. There was a towering aura surrounding her with signs that it would erupt. What? Do you want to fight? The indigo-robed man grinned, and next to him, the purple-haired middle-aged man also stared at Yi Mei icily. If it was 1-for-1, he knew that neither of them was an opponent of Yi Mei, but by teaming up they would have no fear. Ho ho, two strong men attacking a little girl. Don't you feel ashamed? A light voice suddenly sounded. The facial expression of the indigo-robed man and purple-haired middle-aged man both changed, and they quickly looked towards the source of the voice. At the side, Jian Wushuang, armed with his triple-kill sword, was surrounded by overwhelming sword essences. As for the mighty demonic monkey, which frightened them when they heard of it, it was lying at the feet of Jian Wushuang unmoving. A bloody hole was in its chest with streams of blood flowing out. This scene made both the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man inhale sharply. The Herculean demonic monkey is dead. Yi Mei was also astonished. After watching Jian Wushuang fighting with the Herculean demonic monkey and hacking it to death with one sword stroke, they had already been shocked, but now it was dead. The Herculean demonic monkey could not be dead. Since Jian Wushuang began his fight with the mighty demonic monkey, it had only been a few minutes. It was during those few minutes that the mighty demonic monkey had been killed. What was happening? Were they dreaming? The indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man were a little confused. Even Yi Mei, who knew Jian Wushuang's real identity, was still extremely shocked. At the same time, she finally understood why her father asked Jian Wushuang to take care of her. She had looked down on Jian Wushuang before, thinking that disciples of Dragon Palace were useless. But now she knew how foolish she was. They were shocked, but Jian Wushuang was very calm without any exultation. After all, he was a disciple of Dragon Palace. Disciples of Dragon Palace were all super talents. They were all weirdos. But he was the weirdest among them because he could defeat Nangong Jia after he had joined the Dragon Palace for only 3 months. Besides, he cultivated such a defiant cultivation tactic as the heavenly creation skill. Although the Herculean demonic monkey's power is extremely high, it only had brute force. The power I use through the heavenly creation skill is only at the level of the ordinary initial gold core realm. But my swordsmanship and sword essence are very high. Depending on the power of the formless sword wave and the swordsmanship power to fight with it directly, I had an absolute advantage. In other respects, I have a significant edge. It was an easy kill. Jian Wushuang did not take it too seriously. Catching a glimpse of the remains of the Herculean demonic monkey, Jian Wushuang waved his hand and put the remains of the mighty demonic monkey into the interspatial ring. And then Jian Wushuang looked at the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man again. During the killing of the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, Yi Mei and I contribute the most. But the 2 most important gold horns belong to you two whose contributions are the least. That's not fair, is it? Jian Wushuang said with a light smile. What do you want? The indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man were staring at Jian Wushuang fearfully. They thought Jian Wushuang would be entangled with the Herculean demonic monkey for a long time, and had no time to think about him, so they grabbed the 2 gold horns quickly. They had never dreamed that Jian Wushuang would kill the Herculean demonic monkey in only a few minutes. Take out the 2 golden horns, and I can ignore what happened just now, Jian Wushuang said. The indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man were displeased and looked at each other. Then the indigo-robed man nodded and said, Okay, we will take them out. Hearing this, Yi Mei breathed with a relief. However, suddenly, Run! The indigo-robed man shouted lowly and the purple-haired middle-aged man leaped up immediately. Both of them were very clear that the condition for the completion of this mission was exactly the 2 gold horns. As long as they could escape and flee to the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace, even without the witness of their team leader Ba Yan, they could complete this 2-clawed Golden Dragon Guard mission with these 2 gold horns. But once they moved and acted, an icy sword light immediately whistled out. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sword light whistled slightly, skimming directly onto these 2 men's faces. The indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man stopped their paces at once. They were shocked, feeling their faces turn cold. They subconsciously touching their faces and felt a stream of scalding blood. At the same time, Jian Wushuang appeared in front of them suddenly, and the icy voice passed slowly into their ears. The stroke just now only left a sword mark on your faces, but the next one will cut your throats. Chapter 87. Chapter 87. The Observed Prey. The purple-haired middle-aged man and the indigo-robed man swallowed their saliva. They trembled and experienced great fear, after they saw a death-like smile on Jian Wushuang's lips. I will hand over the golden horn. The indigo-robed man trembled and tossed the golden horn to Jian Wushuang immediately. Me too. The purple-haired middle-aged man also handed over his golden horn. Taking the golden horn, Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. You are not foolish men. After speaking, Jian Wushuang walked toward Yi Mei with a flicker. Jian Wushuang handed over a golden horn to her and said, "This is yours." Me. Yi Mei was still confused. You deserve it because of your contribution while killing the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, Jian Wushuang said. After hesitating a while, Yi Mei ground her teeth and took the golden horn. She mumbled, "Thank you." After shrugging his shoulders, Jian Wushuang said quietly, "Yi Mei, for your father's sake, I remind you that you'd better not trust anyone, even if he is your partner, because many have incomprehensible hearts. You will meet many as you travel the world." After being slightly startled, Yi Mei looked at the indigo-robed man beside her, and the purple-haired middle-aged man, and subsequently nodded. Is it already over? While a loud booming voice, the black-robed man Ba Yan walked out from the forest. Captain Ba Yan. Jian Wushuang and others looked at the black-robed man. Seeing the corpse of the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, a satisfied smile emerged on Ba Yan's face. Ba Yan waved his hands to put the corpse into the interspatial ring. Ba Yan only knew that Jian Wushuang together with 3 people killed the blue-eyed beast with golden horns, but did not know what happened here a moment ago, nor the existence of the Herculean demonic monkey. Jian Wushuang had already put the corpse of the Herculean demonic monkey into his interspatial ring. Who got the 2 golden horns? Ba Yan asked curiously. After hearing that, the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man's expression were depressed. However, Jian Wushuang smiled and said, Yi Mei got 1. So did I, with good luck. Oh. The countenance of Ba Yan grew odd. He did not expect that Yi Mei obtained 1 golden horn. After all, Yi Mei was in the initial gold core realm of Jindan and her strength was not weak. But Jian Wushuang, only in the spiritual sea realm, Jian Wushuang could obtain 1 golden horn. Ba Yan couldn't help but look at the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man. He found that they stood there with reticence and sporadically looked at Jian Wushuang with gazes filled with dense fear. These 2 men, Ba Yan, an experienced person, understood the 2 men's gazes. Based on this, Ba Yan was more curious. What happened? I feel the fear from the 2 men towards Swordsman. After all, Swordsman is only in the spiritual sea realm, but they are all in the primordial gold core. Although Ba Yan was curious, he did not ask. Now that the 2 golden horns have been distributed, we should move to meet Tai Shan immediately. The strength of the 3 blue-eyed beasts with golden horns was high, so we expended more effect to kill them. Now, Tai Shan and the 2 others are recovering their spiritual power. Ba Yan smiled and said, Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. Several people walked toward another battlefield. Oh, in the mountain forest. Swordsman, could you tell me what happened a moment ago? Why do I feel that the 2 men are afraid of you? After glancing at the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man, Ba Yan asked discreetly. Captain Ba Yan, I have said that it was due to luck. Jian Wushuang smiled and did not want to explain much. Forget it if you don't want to say. Ba Yan smirked. My aim is the 2 corpses of the blue-eyed beasts with golden horns. As for who could succeed in the mission, it does not matter much to me. Jian Wushuang smiled silently. He found that the attitude from Ba Yan towards him had improved. At this moment, come out. Son of a bitch. Do you dare to battle me directly? Ah! Hearing a salvo of hysterical and furious roars from up ahead, Jian Wushuang and other people were startled. Something has happened, Jian Wushuang said. Oh. The voice belongs to Tai Shan. Bai Yin frowned. Hurry up! Hurry up! The 5 men accelerated their speed and dashed up ahead as quickly as possible. Soon after, they arrived at a desolate war-torn land. In the center of this land, a bearded strong man was clasping a big bronze saber. He stared around appearing flushed, and roared furiously continuously. Around the bearded strong man, there were 2 cold corpses. Wang Chong, Lin Yu? After seeing the 2 corpses, Jian Wushuang and the others changed their expression. The 2 corpses were their partners. They had worked together with Bai Yin and Tai Shan to kill the blue-eyed beast with golden horns ago. Subsequently, Wang Chong, Lin Yu and Tai Shan had stayed there to recover their spiritual power. Meanwhile, Bai Yin had been looking for Jian Wushuang and his 3 companions. However, it was beyond their expectation that the 2 people had actually died before Bai Yin could lead Jian Wushuang and his companions over. Tai Shan, what happened? Bai Yin walked toward Tai Shan. Don't ask me. I don't know. Tai Shan still flushed with his veins bulging on his forehead. Furthermore, a trace of fear was in his eyes. We are being observed by someone, Jian Wushuang suddenly said. Ah. Everyone looked at Jian Wushuang. Look at their wounds. Jian Wushuang pointed to the 2 corpses of Wang Chong and Lin Yu. There was only 1 scar on the whole corpse. The scar was located at their necks and there was an obvious sword scar. Death with a single blow. They had no chance to retaliate. It's similar to the corpses on the road which we passed by earlier. Jian Wushuang spoke softly. It's him. The countenance of everyone fell, after hearing what Jian Wushuang said. In fact, they didn't know who he was. However, they had seen numerous corpses by the road. Those people were killed by a single harsh blow. He might be close by. Jian Wushuang only saw tall trees and could not identify where the man was hiding. Does he regard us as prey? Yi Mei whispered. Very likely. Jian Wushuang nodded. In the innumerable huge mountains, not only was it useful to hunt spirit beasts, but also hunting humans. Hunting humans was even more profitable. A man in a silver robe stood in a treetop adjacent to the barren land. Cloaked by leaves, he could see what Jian Wushuang and his companions were doing, but his targets could not see him. 2 people in the profound gold core realm, 3 people in the initial gold core realm, and a man at spiritual sea realm. All of them are the Golden Dragon Guard. This looks interesting. Let me play with you. The man in the silver robe tilted his lips and smiled coldly after observing the worried expression on Bai Yin and others. Chapter 88. Chapter 88. Human or Ghost? Inside the innumerable huge mountains, 6 figures walked ahead slowly, looking around vigilantly. Tai Shan, what happened? You should tell us the details, Bai Yin said. Wang Chong, Lin Yu, and I were recovering our spiritual power because it had been greatly consumed after battling the blue-eyed beast with golden horns. Suddenly, Wang Chong screamed miserably. When I turned to look at him, he had been killed, Tai Shan said with a muffled voice. After the death of Wang Chong, Lin Yu and I became vigilant immediately. But what was unexpected was that a few seconds later, Lin Yu was also killed in my presence. Even I couldn't see how the assassin did it. Hearing that, everyone's expression became very somber. Do you know his appearance and his cultivation of spiritual power? Bai Yin continued asking. No. Tai Shan shook his head. You are a man in the profound gold core realm. How could you not know the man's cultivation of spiritual power? Yi Mei could not help excoriating him. I said that I couldn't see him. His speed was amazing. When I was able to perceive him, he had already fleeted off into the mountain forest. Tai Shan exclaimed in a low voice. Yi Mei wanted to say something. Okay, please stop. Bai Yin waved his hands, and then looked around saying, we don't know whether the man is still around and targeting us or has left. He could have left. An indigo-robed man could not help saying. The deaths of Wang Chong and Lin Yu could induce grief from other people. But, to the indigo-robed man and the purple-haired middle-aged man, their deaths could only induce delight. That was because the golden horns were left and the 2 of them could succeed in the mission of the 2-clawed golden dragon guard now that they had died. Haha. Thanks to the powerhouse who killed Wang Chong and Lin Yu, I can obtain the golden horns and then succeed in the mission, the indigo-robed man laughed secretly. Suddenly, a ghost-like figure approached him, followed by a sword shadow that swept directly toward his neck. Too fast. Too sudden. The people around him perceived nothing, barring Jian Wushuang, who swerved his head at this moment. In the next moment, the sword shadow directly cut the indigo-robed man's neck. What? The indigo-robed man's life was dissipating as he goggled from the pain in his neck. The ghost-like figure faded into the nearby forest. Thud. The corpse of the indigo-robed man fell to the ground with a muffled sound. Huh. What? This? No one around noticed what had happened until now and they were all startled. It's him. It's him. He didn't leave. He is still nearby, Taishan roared, filled with terror. The countenances of Ba Yan, Yi Mei, and the purple-haired middle-aged man became ghostly pale at that moment. Before, they had not thought that it was terrifying, even though they had heard Taishan's narrative about his prior experience, but now they had witnessed it for themselves. The indigo-robed man had been with them and was killed right under their noses. Nevertheless, they could not see any trace of the adversary. They did not even know whether it was a human or a ghost who had killed the indigo-robed man. Just then, a feeling of terror emerged from the bottom of everyone's heart, except for the fearless Jian Wushuang, who wore an odd expression. Jian Wushuang had witnessed the scene, but Ba Yan and Taishan, who were in the profound gold core realm, did not see it. However, because of what he saw, he felt strange. A warrior in silver who is in the profound gold core realm. His cultivation of spiritual power is in the profound gold core realm, and the strength that I sensed is not very strong. However, his speed is very fast and his movements are very flexible. Moreover, he has a good method of assassination, Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Regarding the assassination method, he had first thought of the killers from the Blood Feather Tower. However, the killers from the Blood Feather Tower dressed in masks and black robes, which was different from the warrior in silver. The actual strength of that man is probably not comparable to Ba Yan. However, his cloaked assassination terrifies Ba Yan and Taishan, who are in the profound gold core realm. It's a wise method. Jian Wushuang tilted his lips slightly. Oh. Jian Wushuang was not afraid of the warrior in silver after learning something about him. But the other people were still in fear. Who are you? What kind of hatred do you have for us? Why did you pick us? Looking around unceasingly, Ba Yan spread his voice with a cold expression. Behind a nearby tree, the warrior in silver's cold smile bloomed upon hearing that. Who's next? The warrior in silver looked straight ahead. At this moment, the 8-person group of Ba Yan had only 5 people left. The 5 people were Ba Yan and Taishan, who were in the profound gold core realm, Yi Mei and the purple-haired middle-aged man, who were in the initial gold core realm, and Jian Wushuang, who was in the level of spiritual sea. The warriors who are in the profound gold core realm are a bit hard to kill. Therefore, I must kill those 2 people last. The warrior in silver looked at Ba Yan and Taishan, shaking his head. And then he looked at Jian Wushuang. That spiritual sea realm warrior. He is too weak to motivate me to kill him. Okay. The 2 remaining warriors are in the initial gold core realm. The warrior in silver stared at Yi Mei and the purple-haired middle-aged man and then made a decision. I'll choose her. The gaze from the warrior in silver was locked on Yi Mei. A few seconds later, he silently approached her. In the center of the mountain forest, Ba Yan and the others had already become greatly frightened. Watch out. Pay attention to the surroundings, Ba Yan said in a muffled voice. The 5 living people all wore somber expressions, except for Jian Wushuang. Whoosh! A supersonic noise resounded, followed by a silver figure suddenly bursting out of the nearby forest. His movements and appearance were just like a ghost's. His speed was stupendous. In a flash he was right in front of Yi Mei. Watch out! Ba Yan first cried out, but it was too late to rescue her. Escape! Taishan also roared. What? Immediately, Yi Mei's dark pupils shrank as her hair stood on end. An outburst of astonishing killing intent enveloped her when the ghost-like figure appeared in front of her. At that moment, Yi Mei was fraught with dense terror. She was too frightened to resist it. Haha. Another one. After seeing that, the warrior in silver grinned. His purple soft sword lightly stabbed toward Yi Mei's neck. Suddenly, swoosh! A cold sword light silently chopped toward him. Chapter 89. Chapter 89 Slaughter. What? The smile on the warrior in silver froze at once. He looked in disbelief at the sword light that had suddenly appeared. It's him. The warrior in silver also recognized who had executed that move. Was it that warrior at the level of spiritual C, whom he had paid no attention to and regarded boring to kill? Yes, it was exactly that warrior at the level of spiritual C. When everyone around, even including Yi Mei herself, did not realize what was happening, Jian Wushuang had clearly seen the warrior in silver's figure, and cleaved toward him. This sword light, a flicker of fear appeared in the warrior in silver's eyes. The sword light was too fast, even much faster than what he could execute with his full power. It was too fast for him to defend. In the next instant, the sword had directly roared past right in front of him. Ah! The warrior in silver immediately let out a sad and painful cry, looking at his right hand with astonishment. Actually, that sword light had directly chopped half of his palm off as streams of blood wildly burst out. What? The several people around also witnessed what had happened. They finally were able to clearly see the warrior in silver's figure, as well as his palm chopped in half and the purple soft sword that had dropped on the ground. At that moment, everyone stopped breathing. Run! With half of his palm chopped off, the warrior in silver's face twisted with great pain, but he still remained a little sober. Instead of picking up the chopped off half palm and that purple soft sword, he rushed out and escaped. He clearly knew that what he was most versed in were assassination and high speed. As for face-to-face slaughter, either Ba Yan or Tai Shan, who were both in the profound gold core realm, could beat him single-handedly. Hence, once his figure was seen, he had to leave immediately. What was worse was that his right hand was crippled now, and his battle strength was largely reduced. As long as all of you have come, then stay here. A floating voice was passed into the warrior in silver's ears when his complexion sharply changed. Shua! The icy sword edge directly penetrated through the warrior in silver's chest from the back, with its edge passing right through the entire heart. The third movement of formless swordsmanship. Expeditious maneuver. The warrior in silver just felt a little sweetness in his throat. In the next instant, a gush of blood spurted from his mouth, before his body slowly slumped down to the ground. Even when he died, he could not believe that he would die at the hand of a warrior at the level of spiritual C. After killing the warrior in silver, Jian Wushuang put the triple-kill sword back into its sheath. Then he bent over to pick up the warrior in silver's ring of heaven and earth, and that purple soft sword from the ground before turning around to look at Ba Yan and the others. As soon as he turned around, Jian Wushuang found that all of Ba Yan, Tai Shan, Yi Mei, and that purple-haired middle-aged man were staring at him with shocked faces. Swordsman, you killed him? Ba Yan said in astonishment. Should I not try to kill him and wait for him to kill you one by one? Jian Wushuang asked in return. Both Ba Yan and Tai Shan looked at Jian Wushuang in a different way. Like Tai Shan, he did not regard Jian Wushuang as somebody at all before this. In his view, a warrior at the level of spiritual C trying to complete the task of the two-clawed golden dragon guard meant that he was pursuing death. He had even quarreled with Jian Wushuang. But now, Tai Shan absolutely could not look down upon Jian Wushuang. Instead, he felt deep fear toward him from the bottom of his heart. Yes, it was fear. After all, that warrior in silver had killed 3 of his companions in front of him, but he did not even see the shadow of their opponent. However, Jian Wushuang did directly slaughter that warrior in silver. Having witnessed such strength, how could he stand there with no fear? As for Yi Mei and that purple-haired middle-aged man, they had seen before that Jian Wushuang killed the Herculean demonic monkey in the profound gold core realm in just a moment, so they had known that Jian Wushuang's strength was very horrifying. Yet, when they saw Jian Wushuang so easily slaughter that warrior in silver, they still felt extremely shocked. Swordsman, thank you. Yi Mei earnestly stared at Jian Wushuang and expressed her gratitude. Just now, that warrior in silver had aimed to kill her, which she knew very clearly. If Jian Wushuang had not saved her in time, she would be dead now. You're welcome. Anyway, we are companions. Of course I can't watch you be killed, Jian Wushuang casually answered. Yi Mei nodded slightly. Although Jian Wushuang seemed to be very casual, she had remembered his kind help. All right. The guy who was in our way has been killed. Captain Ba Yan, let's continue ahead, said Jian Wushuang. Huh. Ba Yan was stunned before grasping his words. Then he nodded in a hurry, saying, all right, let's go. Oh. At night, on a hill, Ba Yan and the other several people were gathering in front of a fire. How could it be? That man was only in the profound gold core realm with not very powerful strength. He was just relatively good at assassination. If I fought against him face to face, maybe I could have beaten him. Tai Shan's voice was very solid. Humph, what a shame. Anyway, you are an expert in the profound gold core realm, but couldn't see his cultivation of spiritual power. Ba Yan sneered. That's all due to that guy's high speed. Tai Shan curled his lip and then said, yet Brother Swordsman is really awesome. He's only in the spiritual sea realm, but he so easily killed a warrior in the primordial gold core? After knowing Jian Wushuang's real strength, Tai Shan was not proud at all in front of Jian Wushuang. Really awesome. Ba Yan also praised him. Such an excellent spiritual sea realm warrior can't be an ordinary person. In my opinion, he must possess a great background. He is even maybe a disciple of the Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace? Both Tai Shan and the purple-haired middle-aged man opened their eyes wide. That swordsman is really a disciple of Dragon Palace, said Yi Mei just then. Really? Ba Yan, Tai Shan, and the purple-haired middle-aged man showed expressions of great interest. At their side, Jian Wushuang was casually sitting on a giant rock, playing with the purple soft sword in his hand. That purple soft sword was obtained after killing that warrior in silver. What was noticeable was that there were 2 red characters engraved on its sword hilt. 11. 11. Jian Wushuang murmured. Then he turned his hand over and a small scroll appeared. That was naturally the task scroll of the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace's task of Stage 1 had been mostly finished, so he began studying the task of Stage 2. Opening the scroll. Task of Stage 2. Kill the Dark Silver Guard. Task location. Innumerable huge mountains. Task description. In the palace of the Dongyang Commandery Prince of the Tianzong dynasty, there is a well-cultivated guarding army called the Dark Silver Guard. There are more than 100 Dark Silver Guards, who often secretly help the palace of Dongyang Commandery Prince to kill enemies and complete some confidential tasks. The cultivation process of the Dark Silver Guard is extremely cruel and complicated. Chapter 90. Chapter 90 Dark Silver Guard. According to news received from Golden Dragon Palace, the Dark Silver Guard launched a mission this month with the target of assassinating a Golden Dragon Guard to obtain the Golden Dragon Ring. There was a Dark Silver Guard team with 12 members which successfully entered the innumerable huge mountains. Mission requirements. To kill at least 5 Dark Silver Guards and take their purple soft swords with specific numbers that the Dark Silver Guards carry all the time as evidence. Award. 1,000 points for killing a Dark Silver Guard and 3,000 points for killing a Dark Silver Guard leader. After reading the whole mission scroll, Jian Wushuang looked weird. Was the warrior in silver I killed a Dark Silver Guard? Jian Wushuang looked at the purple soft sword carved with the number 11. Obviously, it was the specific number of the Dark Silver Guard. The Dark Silver Guard set the Golden Dragon Guard as a target for their mission. When Dragon Palace got the news, I, a disciple of Dragon Palace, was sent to stop the Dark Silver Guards. Well, what they plan and conspire are so complicated. Jian Wushuang silently smiled but took it seriously in his heart. The Stage 1 task was quite easy for him. However, Stage 2 made him feel stressed. It should be known that it was a Dark Silver Guard team with 12 members in the profound gold core realm. All members were good at rapid and stealthy assassination. What's more, they were elusive. It was not easy to set them as the targets. It's good news that members of the team are dispersed in the innumerable huge mountains. I only need to assassinate 5 Dark Silver Guards to fulfill the task, and this is possible. Jian Wushuang thought. By late noon of the next day, The mountains were still in darkness. Leader Bai Yin, in front it is the periphery of the innumerable huge mountains. We do not need to worry about being the targets of others after we arrive there. Jian Wushuang said. Swordsman, are you sure that you want to adventure alone in the innumerable huge mountains? Bai Yin asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Could you please extend the deadline of the task of 2-claw marked Golden Dragon Guard when you return to Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace? Then when I return next time, I can complete it with the Golden Horn. Haha. No problem. See you next time, Bai Yin said. See you, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Swordsman. Yi Mei looked at Jian Wushuang with mixed feelings and did not know what to say next. The innumerable huge mountains were immense. There were old trees aged tens and even hundreds of years around. Overgrown weeds and thorns were everywhere. The black-robed youth with a long sword walked alone in the jungle. He seemed to be relaxed and carefree, but his spiritual power was at the ready constantly. He looked around with vigilance. It has been 2 days. He slowly raised his head. It had been 2 days after he left Bai Yin and had walked alone into the innumerable huge mountains. He encountered many spirit beasts and even a few human warriors, but he had not encountered dark silver guards again. Well, the innumerable huge mountains are so immense. What's more, there are just 12 dark silver guard and one of them was killed by me. It is so difficult to find out the rest of the members. After all, they are spread out. Jian Wushuang slightly nodded his head. Suddenly, he noticed a spirit beast crawling hundreds of meters away. Then, he came up with an idea. Since I'm unable to find them, let's see if I can make them come to me instead. Next moment, there was an outburst of spiritual power from Jian Wushuang, and it flew directly at the spirit beast, which was only at the level of initial gold core realm. A fierce battle broke out within a moment. With Jian Wushuang's strength, it would have been quite easy for him to kill the spirit beast at the level of initial gold core realm. However, this battle lasted a long time. Boom! 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 The booming sound thundered and many trees around the battlefield fell over, some of which were even crushed. The ground was pitted with holes and sword scars, looking like a scene of great devastation. Judging from the battlefield, it seemed like a close battle. They made a huge racket when slaughtering, which gave the impression to people far away that it was a ferocious battle. Of course, all of this was caused by Jian Wushuang deliberately. The reason was quite simple: to attract dark silver guards through the sounds of fighting. The reason why the dark silver guards were here was to kill golden dragon guards. So, they would be attracted where there were battles. If there was a dark silver guard around Jian Wushuang, he would be attracted and immediately reveal himself. Obviously, Jian Wushuang was not very lucky. He deliberately slaughtered with the spirit beast for a long time, but the dark silver guards were not attracted. It happened to attract another 2 spirit beasts, and one of them was at the level of profound gold core realm. It seems that the dark silver guards are not around. I'd better move to another place. Jian Wushuang immediately left. After an hour, he appeared in a place tens of meters away and slaughtered with a spirit beast at the level of initial gold core realm again, and still made a tremendous sound. In the dense forest. Whoosh! A figure like a ghost rapidly passed the trees and then soon stopped at the top of a big tree. The warrior in silver with a bony face was one of the members of the Dark Silver Guard team. The task has been going on for half a month, but I have only got 16 golden dragon rings. The warrior in silver frowned. It's too few. I have to hurry up and try to gain 50 before the deadline. 16 golden dragon rings meant he had killed 16 golden dragon guards. Suddenly, boom! A deep booming sound was heard at a distance. What? The warrior in silver changed color. The booming sound suggested that there was a slaughter ahead. I hope that there will be golden dragon guards. There was a cold light flashing in his eyes. Then he rapidly moved towards the source of the commotion. After a moment, the warrior in silver arrived at the vicinity of the battlefield. He stood behind a tree to observe what was happening in the forest. He noticed that a black-robed youth was slaughtering with a lion spirit beast using a long sword, and that the slaughter was intense. At first, warrior in silver was astonished at this scene. How can a warrior at the level of spiritual C be able to slaughter with a spirit beast at the level of initial gold core realm? But later, He observed that there was a golden ring of heaven and earth in the hand of the black-robed youth. Golden dragon ring? The eyes of the warrior in silver were bright and there was a weird smile on his face. It seems that I'm able to immediately get the 17th golden dragon ring. Chapter 91. Chapter 91. Who is the prey? On the bumpy earth, Jian Wushuang was vehemently fighting with a moonfire lion who was in the initial gold core realm. If he wanted to, Jian Wushuang could have easily killed the moonfire lion. But it was obvious that he did not intend to do so. It's the third time that I've had a fierce fight with a spirit beast and deliberately made tremendous noises. Are there any dark silver guards around that will be attracted by it? Jian Wushuang was not sure because only other spirit beasts had been attracted the last 2 times. The intense battle continued for a while, and then Jian Wushuang very fiercely killed the moonfire lion. A silver-haired man standing behind a nearby tree watched this scene silently. At the moment, he concentrated his attention and then quietly rushed out. Beat the air again? Jian Wushuang felt pity as he went to pick up the core of the moonfire lion. At that moment a slight wind came suddenly. Common warriors, even the warriors in the profound gold core realm, might not have been able to sense such a light sound, but Jian Wushuang could hear the sound clearly because he had comprehended the sword essence of gale. He's finally come. Jian Wushuang felt happy, and in the next moment he turned around and looked over. That warrior in silver was worthy of being a professional killer of the Dark Silver Guard. He picked a very good time for assassination, as Jian Wushuang had his back toward him. When he burst out, he directly stabbed at Jian Wushuang's neck with a purple soft sword. The sword was so fast, and the warrior in silver was full of confidence with this move. How wonderful the opportunity is! And what a perfect assassination! Even if he is a real expert in the profound gold core realm, he could not withstand my sword. There is no doubt that this guy is going to die, and the 17th golden dragon ring will be had. The warrior in silver smiled to himself, along with the smile on his face. But unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang, who had his back toward him the entire time, suddenly turned around with a pair of cold eyes. And then Jian Wushuang grinned at him. That smile gave a sudden scare to the warrior in silver. Damn! As a dark silver guard, years of experience told him that he had fallen into a trap. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang directly fought back. Shua! A beautiful scarlet sword light blazed out, and instantly confronted the purple soft sword of the warrior in silver directly. However, in the next moment, that scarlet sword light disappeared like an unreal image. When it appeared again, the sword had arrived at his chest. What? The warrior in silver was shocked. He was violently beaten back the first time. The scarlet sword light flashed across his chest. His silver cape was torn and a long wound appeared on his chest. How powerful! The warrior in silver was intimidated. He was not good at face-to-face slaughtering. He was in the profound gold core realm at least. However, when he fought with Jian Wushuang, he felt that he had gone through gate of hell after just one encounter. At this moment, the strength that was revealed by Jian Wushuang even horrified him. He should have had the self-confidence to take Jian Wushuang as prey just now, with the purpose of taking that golden dragon ring that was in his hand. But now it seemed, out of the two of them, who was the hunter, and who was the prey? You are a dark silver guard, right? Jian Wushuang suddenly asked. Huh? The warrior in silver looked up at Jian Wushuang with astonishment. How could he know his identity? I have taken your purple soft sword. A grin spread over Jian Wushuang's face. Then as he moved, the spiritual power in his body broke out while sword essence violently rushed into sky simultaneously. Shua! As it stabbed, the sword shadow made people feel that it was slow, but in fact its true speed was so fast that it was scary. The fourth move of formless swordsmanship. 100 variations. The warrior in silver was scared and had intended to stop it, but that sword was too fast. When he just raised the purple soft sword in his hand, that slow sword had appeared in front of his throat and then pierced his throat directly. Jian Wushuang picked up the purple soft sword from the warrior in silver, and looked at the engraving 9 on its sword hilt. Oh, 2 purple soft swords. Jian Wushuang smiled. And then he checked the ring of heaven and earth left by the man in silver. As expected, like that dark silver guard from before, both of them had collected a lot of golden dragon rings. This time there are 16 in total, which means that he had killed 16 golden dragon guards. Jian Wushuang was astonished. The true strength of these dark silver guards was actually not frightening, but their ability of assassination was indeed so strong that people in the profound gold core realm might be directly killed if they were careless. Keep moving. Jian Wushuang continued to go further in the innumerable huge mountains. Just like before, he stopped at each section of the road to find a spirit beast in the initial gold core realm and impetuously fight with them. He deliberately made it a big scene so he could attract the dark silver guards that came on their own initiative. But unfortunately, his luck seemed to have completely run out. Over the next 3 days, Jian Wushuang did not come across a third dark silver guard. In the innumerable huge mountains, a breeze blew with a mild bloody odor. "Be careful. Buck up," a man said in a low voice, and a small team with a dozen people slowly moved ahead in the jungle. Most of them in this small team looked pale, even some of their eyes were full of terror. Suddenly the grass in the front shook. "Who is it?" A sudden shout was raised, and all the people in the team looked over at the grass. Crash! The grass then parted to 2 sides. A black-robed youth wearing a long sword slowly appeared in front of these people. It was Jian Wushuang. Huh! Jian Wushuang looked up at this small team of a dozen people without any astonishment in his eyes. The innumerable huge mountains were boundless. There were a lot of nature treasures and countless spirit beasts. It was a perfect place for warriors to cultivate themselves, so it was common to encounter other people occasionally. When seeing Jian Wushuang, the whole team felt nervous. But soon after, they perceived that Jian Wushuang was only a warrior at the level of spiritual C, so they relaxed. "Where does this reckless dude come from? Get out now!" The team's leader, who had bird eyes, immediately shouted. "Someone in the spiritual sea realm dares to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains alone? You are really heading for death." The rest of the team members also laughed at him, which lightened the tense atmosphere at that moment. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. He was not angry about their words, but their expressions attracted his attention. These people obviously feel some degree of fear, Jian Wushuang thought. People who dare to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains generally have experienced life and death, so it's impossible for common things to make them feel scared. Unless, Jian Wushuang glanced at their hands quickly, and there surely were 4 people who wore golden dragon rings on their fingers. Chapter 92. Chapter 92. The Mutation of Sword Soul. "Seems that I am being watched." With a cryptic smile, Jian Wushuang said nothing to the people in front, moving into the jungle quickly and vanishing from their view. After Jian Wushuang left, someone in the team started to talk. "What a surprise, I initially thought that he was that guy. Unexpectedly, he's a warrior at the level of spiritual C. A warrior with just a level of spiritual C dares to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains. He must be really bold." "I think he isn't bold, just suicidal." These 2 men were walking abreast and talking. Suddenly, a silvery ghost-like figure appeared in front of one man while a sword light stabbed at him. The man could react. After the sword light slashed across his throat, he was immediately killed. Just as quickly, the silvery ghost-like figure disappeared. "Hey, do you think that the horrible guy has left?" The other man was still talking to that man and looking towards him. He saw the corpse of that man slowly falling to the ground. "Oh!" The strong man screamed and all the other members of the team came over for a look. "What happened?" they asked. "This asshole. It's him again. He's coming. The bad guy. He's coming again. Devil. Devil. He's a devil." Suddenly the whole team became restless and terrified again. It should be known that this team originally had over 30 people. But now there was just a half alive. The other half of them were killed by this devil. From start to end, they had not even seen the devil's face clearly. Whoosh! The sound of rushing wind was heard again. A silvery figure like a ghost moved swiftly and showed up in front of the strong man. The strong man saw a sword light with difficulty and then was killed directly. The silvery figure moved toward the jungle again. It's so easy to kill these people. The dark silver guard laughed. Shortly after he had just entered the jungle, he found a black-robed youth standing here. With his hand clasping his wrists behind his back, the black-robed youth watched him with interest. It seemed that the black-robed young man had been waiting for him. "Who and what are you doing here?" The dark silver guard felt surprised, but the black-robed youth in front of him had already started to attack him. The dark silver guard was outclassed by a formidable sword shadow filled with strong earth sword essence. The dark silver guard changed his countenance at once and hastily brandished his purple soft sword to parry. Bang! The sword shadow hit the purple soft sword and twisted it due to the powerful force. The dark silver guard felt his palm numb and a stinging pain. He flew out of the jungle and staggered back a few steps before standing firmly. Shua! All of the people in the team with more than 10 members looked at him together. "Damn it!" the dark silver guard said and had a ghastly expression. The 7th. The other silvery figure showed up at the side of the dark silver guard, staring with alertness at the black-robed youth who was walking towards them slowly. "Oh, there are 2 guys." Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and felt delighted secretly. Jiang Wushuang followed the team before. Perceiving the countenance of the people in the team, Jiang Wushuang guessed that they might be under surveillance of the dark silver guard. So he didn't leave and hid in the jungle. As he expected, the dark silver guard appeared. But lucky for him, the team was waylaid by 2 instead of only 1 dark silver guard. 2 for 1. "Who are you?" The man with bird eyes, the leader of the team, shouted to them immediately when he saw Jian Wushuang and 2 dark silver guards. All the other members took a deep breath and waited to see what would happen next. "It's not a matter of who I am. You need to know that they're targeting to your team." "And I am targeting them," Jian Wushuang laughed and said. "Those 2 guys staring at us?" The man with bird eyes looked at the 2 dark silver guards and said, "The devils? Are them? 2 warriors who are in the profound gold core realm." Immediately the whole team became restless. With a solemn expression, the 2 dark silver guards did not care about the man with bird eyes and his team, but they were afraid of Jian Wushuang standing in front of them. Although Jian Wushuang's cultivation of spiritual power was just at the level of spiritual C, no one dared to regard him as a common spiritual C realm warrior in terms of that movements he showed just now. "Old 7th. We are exposed. It's not our strength to slaughter directly. We should leave now. Hurry up." The dark silver guard, who had never fought with Jian Wushuang, said. "Okay." The other dark silver guard nodded heavily. Both of them transformed into beams of flowing light and fled into the jungle at the side. "Haha, do you think you can escape?" A cold voice emerged and then Jian Wushuang stabbed at the 2 dark silver guards with his triple kill sword. The sword shadow moved so quickly and was like a flash of lightning streaking through the void. A gust of wind roared. The wind stopped and the swords fell to the ground at the same time. Everything returned to peace. The 2 dark silver guards' eyes widened in shock. They looked incredulously at their chests which had been poked through. The 2 dead bodies dropped to the ground at the same time. Jian Wushuang held the triple kill sword with blood dripping from the sword edge. "I have already mastered the 5th move of the formless swordsmanship." Jian Wushuang's lips curled into a small smile. The 5th move of the formless swordsmanship was faster and more ruthless than the 4th move, 100 variations. The sword was brandished. The wind stopped and then the sword dropped. The 2 dark silver guards were already dead. They are also warriors in the level of profound gold core realm, but are far from the disciples of Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang looked down at the 2 corpses, shaking his head secretly. The disciples of Dragon Palace were the talents who comprehended the essence realm of heaven and earth to a high level. At the Dragon Palace, a disciple of Dragon Palace in the level of profound gold core realm was able to compete with the warriors in the level of exceptional gold core realm. However, Jian Wushuang had beaten a disciple of Dragon Palace who was in the level of profound gold core realm. It was really easy for him to kill warriors at the level of gold core. Moreover, the formless swordsmanship he mastered was the ultimate sword skill which stressed speed. As long as Jian Wushuang used the 5th move of the formless swordsmanship, The two dark silver guards had no chance to struggle and would be killed immediately. After killing the two dark silver guards and picking up their purple soft swords and rings of heaven and earth, Jian Wushuang was far too busy to care about the shocked expressions of those people around him. He turned around and wanted to leave. After he had walked several steps, he stopped suddenly. "What?" Jian Wushuang said. With unprecedented shock in his eyes, he looked out into the distance. He still could see the vibrant jungle, but at this moment there was a kind of strange feeling emerging in his heart. Meanwhile, a mysterious strength from the sword soul within his body gradually emerged. The sword soul. His sword soul was waking up. Although his sword soul was awakening, he didn't know what it was. He just knew that because of the awakening of sword soul, he could comprehend sword essence with an astounding speed. But now, it was his first mutation after the awakening of sword soul. Chapter 93. Chapter 93 Abyss. Jian Wushuang had an odd feeling because he felt a sense of attraction. It seemed that something in front, not far away, was summoning and calling to him. To be exact, it was summoning and attracting his sword soul. What on earth is there? What is summoning me? Jian Wushuang leaped to a branch of a big tree, looking forward. Hesitating for a while, Jian Wushuang decided to investigate. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang directly rushed forward, and he also found that as he was getting closer and closer, his sword soul felt stronger and stronger. Likewise the attractive summoning power. In the meantime, Jian Wushuang rushed toward the source of that power. Meanwhile, in the mountain forest where Jian Wushuang had killed two dark silver guards. Humph! Is it these two fuck guys that killed so many teammates? The bird-eyed man and other teammates approached the corpses of the two dark silver guards. They thought the one that had spied on them and killed several dozen teammates was a devil, a demon. But now looking carefully, they found that they were also ordinary mortals without 3 heads and 6 arms and only possessed cultivation of profound gold core realm. Pooh! 2 bastards! Useless! The rest of the team were all cursing. Some of them were spitting at the two dark silver guards. No one noticed that a coquettish shadow had already appeared in a nearby tree. It was a lady with a bleak face. She was quite beautiful in silver, tightly holding a purple soft sword whose hilt was carved with the number 1. Lao Lu Lao Chi. Standing in the tip of the tree, the severe-looking lady observed the corpses of the two dark silver guards at a glance, and a frozen killing intent flashed in her eyes immediately. Are they? The frosty lady took action at once. They were still cursing when a coquettish shadow moved suddenly. Ah! Ah! 2 miserable shrieks sounded in succession. The next moment they felt panic. Devil? Devil again? Hadn't he been killed already? Shit! He hasn't. He is coming again. Amidst those frightened voices, the blurry silver shadow moved, again and again, killing people crazily. Just after a while, there were numerous corpses on the ground. Dozens of teammates were dead except the leader, the bird-eyed man. But his arms had already been chopped off. He had lost the ability to struggle. Good for nothings. You aren't likely to kill Lao Lu and Lao Chi. Tell me, who killed them? The bleak lady turned up in front of the bird-eye man, interrogating. The bird-eyed man had been frightened into numbness and immediately told everything he knew. Spiritual Sea Realm. Lao Lu and Lao Chi were killed just by a spiritual sea realm. The bleak lady's face clouded over. When she waved her hands, a sword directly pierced through the bird-eye man's throat. And then she chased toward the direction where Jian Wushuang left. Pursuing the sense of fate, Jian Wushuang soon came to the convergence of 2 mountains. However, the convergence was cut off in the middle by a dark bottomless abyss. What is this? Jian Wushuang stood nearby the abyss, looking upon the bottom of the dark abyss where the chilly wind blowing. Swoosh! A chilly wind blew on both sides of the mountain wall with a crackling sound. Meanwhile, some mountain stones were blown off. Horrible wind! Jian Wushuang was astonished and knew where this was. The abyss is well deserved as the most dangerous land among innumerable huge mountains. Jian Wushuang looked grim-faced. Before leaving for innumerable huge mountains, he had gotten a map of it. There was information about the natural dangers on it, including the abyss. The abyss, located at the convergence of two great mountains, was bottomless. There was a strong chill wind blowing into the abyss. The force of this chill wind was so terrible that rocks would be cracked into pieces, not to speak of the human body. However, a human warrior could generate a shield of spiritual power to forcibly withstand these chill wind. However, the most terrifying aspect of the abyss was absolutely not the chill wind, but its mystery. Since the abyss had appeared over a long period, a great many strong warriors, including some warriors of Inyang Void Realm, had attempted to explore it, but they only could enter within a kilometer. Once exceeding that, no one could get out alive. So until now, nobody knew what existed at the bottom and what the secret was. Unknown. Mysterious. As such, the abyss was so frightening and universally acknowledged to be the most dangerous land among innumerable huge mountains. Is it the abyss that attracted me all this time? There was a hint of shock in Jian Wushuang's eyes. The abyss was well known, mysterious and terrible. What on earth was attracting him over there? Is it the ancestors' land that Aunt had told me before? Jian Wushuang remembered it spontaneously. Ancestors' land. Jian Wushuang also did not know what it was. Ji Wuyue had told him to carefully keep the triple kill sword, the only token to enter the ancestors' land. In his view, it seemed that in the abyss, the only thing deeply attracting him was the ancestors' land. Of course, Jian Wushuang was uncertain whether it was the ancestors' land below the abyss. Even if confirmed, he dared not go down now. Seriously, it was the abyss. Among other things, he was unable to withstand the chill wind with his present strength. It was no different from going to hell if he entered the abyss impulsively. I should explore it after my strength is increased, murmured Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang felt very curious to find that there seemed to be a relation between the abyss and the ancestors' land. But what made him happy was the changes in his body. Sword Soul, are you completely awake? Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Just on the way, his power of Sword Soul hidden in the body was continually improving, becoming stronger and stronger. Until now, the power of Sword Soul had reached a completely new level. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang also found that there was something new in his brain. Chapter 94. Chapter 94. Crisis. In the vast sea of consciousness, a streak of sword-shaped phantom floated there silently, looking transparent and dreamlike, just like glass but brighter than ever. The moment that Jian Wushuang recognized this streak, he knew that it was the Sword Soul. Previously, the Sword Soul just began to awaken and had not taken form yet. However, now the Sword Soul had awoken thoroughly and formed a solid sword-shaped phantom. I'm wondering what would happen after my Sword Soul evolved into the sword-shaped phantom? Jian Wushuang was curious, but now the sword-shaped phantom just silently floated in the sea of consciousness, so he could not find out anything. Maybe it would be helpful to my sense of sword essence? Jian Wushuang murmured with a smile. But at that moment, what? Jian Wushuang sensed a sudden feeling of fear, and he turned his head in a rush only to see an alluring silver figure dashing toward him with a purple soft sword. The chilling light reflected by the sword edge surprised Jian Wushuang, and the cold and murderous look in her eyes frightened him. So fast. Much faster and more terrifying than the 4 dark silver guards that I fought before. Jian Wushuang wanted to retreat, but obviously, the sword edge flickering with purple light had already approached him. Jian Wushuang had no time to take out his sword and parry, but he tried his best to force his body to one side. This move had allowed him to avoid hurting vital parts of his body. Shua! The cold sword edge crossed Jian Wushuang's shoulder, tearing his clothes up as blood spattered. A 2-centimeter blood stain emerged from his chest to his shoulder. Seeing this blood stain, even as tough as Jian Wushuang was, he could not stop a chill from going up his spine. Just at that moment, he would have been a dead person if he had reacted even a little bit slower. He could avoid hurting his vital parts. That cold-faced woman looked surprised when Jian Wushuang survived her attack, and then she retreated rapidly. Trying to escape now? Too late. Jian Wushuang shouted, and then he withstood the sharp pain from his shoulder, dashing out with the triple kill sword. A gust of wind roared. This sword movement. Having a look of fear, the the cold-faced woman thrust out her purple soft sword. Clang! The fifth movement of the formless swordsmanship, which Jian Wushuang had used, was blocked by the cold-faced woman. She then fled into the woods behind Jian Wushuang. Haha, do you think you can escape? Jian Wushuang said with a snort and lifted the triple-kill sword up high. His tremendous earth sword essence condensed gradually, forming a huge 3-meter-long and half-meter-wide sword-shaped phantom. Formless sword wave, the eighth move. The majestic phantom quaked a little and directly slashed toward the woods, where the cold-faced woman was hiding. The huge sword-shaped phantom showed its power. The power struck heaven and earth. Immediately, a large number of trees collapsed. Some were even pulled up from their roots. The cold-faced woman was exposed to Jian Wushuang at once. Found you, Jian Wushuang said with a fleeting murderous gaze. What the? The cold-faced woman was deeply shocked by the big patch of rupturing woods. And at that moment, a gust of wind blew over that almost burst her head. Right away she was buried in the wind. And then the wind dropped and the swords fell on the ground. The surroundings totally calmed down. Jian Wushuang walked slowly toward the dead body of the cold-faced woman, with his hands covering the bleeding wound on his shoulder. The dead woman's wide-open eyes were filled with shock. A woman! Jian Wushuang looked down at the dead body. Although it was a woman, Jian Wushuang did not dare to underestimate her at all. It was this cold-faced woman that had nearly killed him. Leaning over to take her purple soft sword, Jian Wushuang stared at the number on the sword hilt. Just as I thought. Jian Wushuang understood what happened when he saw the number 1 carved on the sword hilt. She was the leader of the Dark Silver Guard. Jian Wushuang was not surprised. The cold-faced woman was far superior to the Dark Silver Guards that he had met before. Just the time that she chose to attack, the speed that she burst in an instant, the determination that she had to kill, and the sword that she thrust out almost got him into big trouble. Only the leader of the Dark Silver Guard could possess such powerful assassination skills. Regarding the points reward of the Stage 2 missions distributed by the Dragon Palace, to kill an ordinary Dark Silver Guard could only earn you 1,000 points. To kill a leader of a Dark Silver Guard, however, was 3,000 points. Such a big difference between the points made it reasonable for such a great difference in their strengths. With this purple soft sword of the leader of Dark Silver Guard, I have finished my mission for Stage 2. Jian Wushuang sighed slightly and looked over his shoulder unconsciously. The nearly 2-centimeter wound from his chest to his shoulder was still bleeding. The blood had reddened his clothes. I need to first find a place to bind up the wound and recover a little. Jian Wushuang left there immediately. After half a day, near a stream in the innumerable huge mountains. The sword lights were brandished one after another. After binding up the wound, Jian Wushuang had started to practice his swordsmanship. The wound on his shoulder was indeed very severe, but the elixirs from the secret pavilion of the Dragon Palace were magical. After taking the elixirs for only half a day, the pain from the wound was alleviated, and he was getting better. He would recover in no more than 2 days. Flashes of sword shadows fleeted incessantly with straight stabbing or chopping, and every single sword rumbled with a slight heat. With Jian Wushuang practicing his swordsmanship faster and faster, the heat hidden in his swordsmanship became violent and fierce. Hua! Shouting out loud, Jian Wushuang brandished the triple-kill sword and chopped into a giant tree beside him. Bang! The giant tree, tens of meters high, burst from the middle. Watching this, a trace of a smile appeared on Jian Wushuang's face. Sword essence of raging fire. So this is the sword essence of raging fire. After comprehending the sword essence of gale, and the earth sword essence, Jian Wushuang had comprehended a third sword essence. Sword essence of raging fire. Sure enough, now that my sword soul has awakened totally, it is much easier for me to comprehend sword essence, Jian Wushuang said with a slight smile. Before the awakening, he had tried to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire many times, but always failed in the end. But now he could comprehend the sword essence of raging fire with ease. There was only one reason that the sword-shaped phantom was formed in his sea of consciousness. After that, it was much easier and simpler to comprehend the sword essence. Chapter 95. Chapter 95, Stage 3 Task. Such a pity. Though I comprehend some sword essence of raging fire, I don't have the appropriate sword skill to display it now. There is nothing to do but exchange the appropriate sword skill of sword essence of raging fire after going back to the Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang smiled and then leaped to the top of a big tree. Leaning against the tree trunk, Jian Wushuang took out the last task scroll. I've completed the stage 1 and 2 tasks. What is the stage 3 task? Jian Wushuang wondered with a slight expectation. He was assigned 3 tasks by the Dragon Palace this time. The first one was easy to complete, but the second one was much tougher, which almost killed him. And the third one? Jian Wushuang opened the scroll. After taking a glance at it, he unexpectedly stared with rounded eyes. On the scroll read some words. Stage 3 task. Kill 10 spirit beasts of the exceptional gold core realm. Task location. The innumerable huge mountains. Task description. Lots of spirit beasts live in the innumerable huge mountains and countless of them have reached the primordial gold core. Though being in the level of spiritual sea, you defeated a disciple of the Dragon Palace who was a warrior in the profound gold core realm in a face-to-face battle. You are fully capable of killing spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Task points. Whether these 10 spirit beasts of the fulfillment of the golden pill realm are strong or not, each one is worth 1,000 points. Bringing their bodies back to the Dragon Palace will serve as proof. Shit! Even Jian Wushuang could not help cursing while reading the stage 3 task. To kill spirit beasts. Spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. A full 10 of them. Are they kidding? Those elders in the Dragon Palace must want me to go to hell, Jian Wushuang said to himself. In the task description, it referred to a disciple of the Dragon Palace who was a warrior in the profound gold core realm that was defeated by him face to face. Indeed he did that. But how did he do it? It was not until Jian Wushuang made his opponent use up his spiritual power that he won the battle. However, he was completely suppressed when competing with Nangong Jia. Jian Wushuang clearly knew his strength. It was not a big deal for him to kill a common warrior in the profound gold core realm. But what about competing with the one in the exceptional gold core realm? He barely could compete with a common warrior in the exceptional gold core realm. He surmised that, in the end, he would be suppressed. And to kill spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Firstly, it was much more difficult to kill spirit beasts than humans because of their different physical conditions. Secondly, spirit beasts in the gold core had intelligence. If they found that they could not beat Jian Wushuang, they would flee rather than foolishly continue to fight with him or even continuously consume their spiritual power. More importantly, Jian Wushuang was not as strong as the spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Cruel. They are so cruel. Jian Wushuang cursed while gnashing his teeth. But the good news was that the task time was unlimited. Therefore, he could make good preparations before killing those spirit beasts. 3 days later, Jian Wushuang targeted an armored tiger in the exceptional gold core realm. The armored tiger was strong in defense capabilities but not so good in speed. Compared with others, it was relatively weak. At the very beginning, Jian Wushuang naturally chose a weaker one to fight with that was not a threat to him. Jian Wushuang quickly started to attack. Selecting the right time, he made a sneak attack. However, he did not get any advantage because the armored tiger reacted in time. Oh. Then Jian Wushuang made good use of his swordsmanship and sword essence and started to fight with the shellback tiger. In this battle, the man and beast were neck and neck. However, the armored tiger chose to directly leave when it found that it could not beat Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang could do nothing but let it go. Fighting with the armored tiger, he could not prevail at all, let alone did he kill it. Well, take it easy. He sighed and then spontaneously overlooked the endless mountains and woods far away. He knew that he might have to stay in the innumerable huge mountains for a long time. Things happened just as he had expected. There were lots of spirit beasts in the innumerable huge mountains. Spirit beasts in the gold core were countless and spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm were also easy to find. Jian Wushuang wandered alone in the innumerable huge mountains and fought with spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm one after another. Jian Wushuang felt great pressure when fighting with any spirit beast in the exceptional gold core realm. He tried his best in each battle. Such crazy slaughtering vastly improved his strength. Especially after his sword soul had completely awoken, he distinctly comprehended sword essence much faster than before. Even so, it was 2 months later that Jian Wushuang succeeded in killing the first spirit beast in the exceptional gold core realm with great effort. As time went by, the hot summer had soon gone and so had the autumn. Instantly the cold winter arrived. Jian Wushuang had wandered alone in the innumerable huge mountains for half a year. At the edge of the innumerable huge mountains, visible to the naked eye, a man who wore an animal skin and carried a long sword slowly walked out of the mountains. Judging by his appearance, he was a young man, but he had a calm and resolute face, and his exposed skin was bronzed. Even in the cold winter, this young man wearing thin animal skin did not feel cold at all. Innumerable huge mountains I have finally gotten out. Jian Wushuang turned and glanced at the endless mountains and forests behind him. He smiled slightly with his mouth turned up. Staying in the innumerable huge mountains for more than half a year, he had suffered a lot and met with danger several times that almost killed him. If he took off his animal skin, many scars on his body would clearly be seen. Most of them were inflicted by the claws of spirit beasts, and some of them were by humans. Among them, a 20-centimeter scar that extended from his breast to his shoulder was the most evident. He had also improved himself so much over these 6 months. And of course he had completed the Stage 3 task. There were a full 10 spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm, and their cores lying in his ring of heaven and earth. Walking along the official road, Jian Wushuang did not spend much time before returning to Moon Heart City. The Golden Dragon subsidiary palace of Moon Heart City was still bustling and boisterous. Jian Wushuang, in the animal skin, entered the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace and walked directly to the counter. A black-haired elder, who stood in front of the counter, had met Jian Wushuang half a year ago and knew his status. Therefore, when seeing Jian Wushuang again, he made a respectful face. "Your Excellency," the black-haired elder said in a low voice. No one else around them could hear it except for Jian Wushuang. "I came here to tell you about the task." Jian Wushuang took out a blue-eyed beast with golden horns, handed it over to the elder and said, "The task was assigned half a year ago. Please wait a moment, Your Excellency." Immediately, the black-clothed elder carefully looked at the task list and quickly found the task that Jian Wushuang had accepted to catch the 2-clawed golden dragon guard. Chapter 96. Chapter 96. The target appears. "Your Excellency, please give me your golden dragon ring," the elder with gray hair said. Jian Wushuang handed him the ring without hesitation. Soon the elder returned it to Jian Wushuang and said, "Your Excellency, the task has been confirmed. From now on, you are a 2-clawed golden dragon guard of Golden Dragon Palace." Looking at the golden dragon ring, Jian Wushuang found that there were 2 claw marks which were the sign of a 2-clawed golden dragon guard. "Arrange a griffin for me, please. I'm going back to Dragon Palace," Jian Wushuang then asked. "Okay. I will do it right now," the elder with gray hair said and nodded. At the very moment, a gentle middle-aged man in a white coat walked into the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace. Suddenly the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace fell silent. All those present looked at that man. Yin-Yang Void Realm. Is he a Golden Dragon ambassador? No, he isn't. He is the governor of Blizzard City, His Excellency Lin Yun. Yes, he is. It is said that His Excellency Lin Yun is a very kind and respectable good elder. People in Golden Dragon subsidiary palace were all in shock. It was very rare to meet such a supermaster of Yin-Yang Void Realm. Jian Wushuang also looked over at that man. With a mild face, the gentle middle-aged looked elegant and cultivated, decent and smart. Besides, his eyes were very kind and warm. Generally speaking, a supermaster who was in Yin-Yang Void Realm had an amazing deterrent power. But the gentle middle-aged man was very kind and friendly, which made it hard for people to fear him. "Mr. He," the gentle middle-aged man walked to the counter softly said. "Your Excellency Lin Yun." The elder showed great respect. I'd like to assign a task. Please give me that task scroll, Lin Yun said very politely. Okay. Wait for a moment, please. The black-robed elder instantly went to take the scroll. Lin Yun waited in front of the counter with a slight smile. After looking around, he saw Jian Wushuang, who was also waiting in front of the counter. Lin Yun suddenly felt stunned, but he did not express it. Little brother, may I know your name? Lin Yun seemed to ask casually. Feeling startled, Jian Wushuang didn't expect that an elder of Yinyang Void Realm would talk to him and instantly answered, I'm Swordsman. Swordsman. Lin Yun showed a quirky expression without saying more. Your Excellency Lin Yun, this is the scroll. The black-robed elder handed it over to Lin Yun and then looked at Jian Wushuang. Your Excellency Swordsman, your griffin is ready. You can go outside the city. Good. Jian Wushuang nodded and then left Golden Dragon's subsidiary palace. After Jian Wushuang left, Lin Yun instantly asked Mr. He, what is that young man's status? He is just a warrior of spiritual sea realm. Why do you call him Your Excellency? Your Excellency Lin Yun. That young man is great, the black-robed elder said with great admiration. Great? Could he come from Dragon Palace? Lin Yun asked again. The black-robed elder slightly smiled but didn't reply. But Lin Yun had got the answer from his smile. It is him. Lin Yun laughed brightly, and then quickly put down his pen, turning and leaving. Your Excellency Lin Yun, you haven't assigned your task? The black-robed elder promptly asked him. I'll come back later. Briefly replying, Lin Yun departed Golden Dragon's subsidiary palace. Outside the Moon Heart City, a golden-armored sergeant riding a griffin was waiting there. After arrival, Jian Wushuang directly sat on the griffin and then left for Dragon Palace. As soon as Jian Wushuang left, Lin Yun suddenly appeared there. A griffin. Griffins flew so fast that Lin Yun couldn't catch up with it, even though he was a powerhouse of Yinyang Void Realm. Staring at the direction where Jian Wushuang disappeared, Lin Yun lost his mild smile and turned cold. Turning his hand, he had a portrait. The young man in the portrait was quite similar to Jian Wushuang in appearance. It's him. Absolutely. It can't be a mistake. Scarlet must kill command. Jian Wushuang looked at the portrait. Lin Yun had an unprecedented killing intent in his eyes. No wonder they searched the whole Tianyan province but could not find Jian Wushuang. Because he had left Tianyan province and gone to Dragon Palace. Being a disciple of Dragon Palace, Lin Yun clenched his fists. People only knew that Lin Yun was the governor of Blizzard City, who was a very gentle and respectable man with a good reputation. However, he also concealed another identity, a purple mask killer of Bloodfeather Tower. I finally found him. I have to report it right away. Lin Yun immediately went back to report the news. The news shocked the whole Bloodfeather Tower for a moment. Bloodfeather Tower paid more attention to Jian Wushuang than to anyone, as he was the target of a Scarlet Kill command. In a dim study, an old man in gray stood there with his hands behind his back, and two black-robed men in purple masks stood behind him. Killers with purple masks, the best killers in Bloodfeather Tower. In general, killers with purple masks were selected from super experts of Yinyang Void Realm. However, the two killers with purple masks now were standing respectfully behind the old man in gray. It could be presumed that the old man held an important status in Bloodfeather Tower. It is confirmed that the target of Scarlet Kill Command is using the pseudonym of Swordsman. He has been in Dragon Palace for more than 9 months and showed his great talent. After 3 months, he has defeated a disciple of Profound Gold Core Realm and was able to pass through the 6th level of Dragon Gate. A killer with purple mask said respectfully. The old man in gray slightly narrowed his eyes, murmuring, There are countless experts in Dragon Palace, the holy cultivation sanctuary. Even if all the purple mask killers of Bloodfeather Tower attack Dragon Palace at once, they would not be able to kill Jian Wushuang. Therefore, we cannot kill him until he leaves Dragon Palace again. Give out my order. Closely follow Jian Wushuang's every move from today. Report his behavior and experiences in Dragon Palace every 7 days. If there is a chance, the secret killer hidden in Dragon Palace should take action. His Excellency, Dragon Palace is a very hard to infiltrate. We paid a great cost to plant the secret killer in it. Should we sacrifice him? A killer with purple mask instantly asked. What do you know? The old man in gray glanced at the killer with purple mask, snorting and saying, as long as we can kill him, we will sacrifice the secret killer. If necessary, both of you could be sacrificed. Both two killers with purple masks were shocked by what he said. At the same time, they eventually knew what a scarlet kill command was. Chapter 97. Chapter 97 Exchange. Back at Dragon Palace, Jian Wushuang submitted his tasks. At Stage 1, 2,000 points were awarded. In Stage 2 of the task, Jian Wushuang received 4,000 points for killing 4 ordinary Dark Silver Guards, and 3,000 points for killing the leader of the Dark Silver Guard. In Stage 3 of the task, there were 10 spirit beasts at the level of Exceptional Gold Core Realm. Each one was worth 1,000 points, and so the total points were 10,000. Therefore Jian Wushuang received a total of 19,000 points after adding up all 3 stages. Coupled with the 12,000 points won from the duel with Nangong Jie before, together with his own points, Jian Wushuang had an abundance of points now. After getting the points, he went to the Secret Pavilion immediately. In Secret Pavilion, firstly he needed to select a sword skill suitable for Sword Essence of Raging Fire. After picking and choosing, Jian Wushuang selected the sword skill of Blood and Fire. Sword skill of Blood and Fire was further divided into 2 volumes, and its exchange price was 6,000 points. It was even more expensive than the formless sword wave that he had exchanged for previously. Subsequently, he received 3 notebooks again. These notebooks were left by 3 strong men who were at the top level of Yinyang Void Realm. The 3 notes had very detailed explanations for Sword Essence of Gale, Sword Essence of Earth and Sword Essence of Raging Fire, and helped Jian Wushuang a lot. Each one of these 3 notebooks was as valuable as the sword skill, and Jian Wushuang spent 6,000 points to exchange for these 3 notebooks. After that, Jian Wushuang began to exchange for some elixirs. 5,000 points for 1 bottleneck-breaking elixir. He exchanged for 3 bottleneck-breaking elixirs at a time, spending 15,000 points. 5,000 points for 1 golden sun pill which he redeemed. Adding this up, it cost him another 20,000 points. I thought my points were quite a lot, but now there isn't much left. Jian Wushuang sighed inside. After all these things had been exchanged, he had only 3,000 points. But all these things were extremely useful. Especially the sword skill of Blood and Fire in those 3 notebooks. Both the bottleneck-breaking elixir and the golden sun pill were used to prepare for his breakthrough. After he swallowed first-class heavenly spirit pill for half a year when he was in the innumerable huge mountains, and coupled with his speed at cultivating due to the heavenly creation skill, his spiritual sea had expanded to the extreme and was at the peak of ultimate spirit sea after half a year, with boundless spiritual power. After this step was achieved, the next was to break through to gold core by any means. Bottleneck-breaking elixir, just as its name implied, was to break the barrier. After swallowing 1 bottleneck-breaking elixir, people could quickly touch that barrier, thus they had a chance to achieve a breakthrough. As for golden sun pill, it was used when making a breakthrough. After all, there were risks when making a breakthrough because sometimes the barrier still could not be broken through even if they touched it. However, the golden sun pill could minimize this risk. These 2 kinds of elixirs with astonishing high value were extremely rare in the outside world. Even in the secret pavilion, 5,000 points was needed for only 1. At a lofty palace of the Dragon Palace. My lord Swordsman is coming back, a purple-robed servant of Dragon Palace said. Oh, with brow lifted, Palace Master White said. Has he finished his experience tasks? Yes. Purple-robed servant nodded. His experience tasks were arranged and carefully selected by me in person. I thought he needed at least 1 year to finish all these tasks, while it only took him half a year to finish them. Well done, Palace Master White said with a smile. She thought highly of Jian Wushuang. It was because of her high opinion that the arranged experience tasks were more challenging since these tasks for Jian Wushuang were arranged and selected by her in person. He received sufficient points this time and should go to the secret pavilion to exchange for treasures. What did he exchange? The Palace Master White asked again. This is the list of the treasures he exchanged for. A purple-robed servant immediately handed over a list. Oh. 3 bottleneck-breaking elixirs and a golden sun pill? Palace Master White nodded slightly. It seems that he is ready to remove the barrier of reaching primordial gold core. 3 sword essence notebooks left by the strong? Palace Master White smiled, with the normal expression. When she saw the last thing on the list, she frowned. Sword skill of blood and fire. People start to study that when they have comprehended sword essence of raging fire, so why did swordsmen exchange for it? Palace Master White knew that Jian Wushuang had comprehended both sword essence of the gale and the earth, but he had never comprehended sword essence of raging fire. Comprehending various sword essence at the same time can indeed result in stronger combat power, but everyone has limited energy, and becoming distracted will limit his achievements in the future. I hope this little guy is aware of this. Maybe he exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for someone else. Palace Master White secretly thought. Treasures in the secret pavilion of Dragon Palace could be exchanged by the disciples of Dragon Palace, as long as they had enough points. As for the usage after exchanging, it depended on the disciple, as he could give this sword skill to others after he had exchanged for it. At this moment, Palace Master White also hoped that Jian Wushuang had exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for someone else. If he exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for himself, he would be too stupid. In the manner, Jian Wushuang had been taken away by Wang Yuan for a drink as soon as he came back. The third took a full 6 months to complete this time. Wang Yuan sighed. Tell me, what were your tasks for Stage 2 and Stage 3? And why did it take you so long to finish them? Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang directly told him his tasks and the process briefly. Fuck 10 spirit beasts of exceptional gold core realm? Wang Yu's eyes widened in shock. 10. Su Rou could not help gasping in astonishment. Have you finished? Wang Yuan asked again. Of course, how could I come back without finishing the tasks? Jian Wushuang laughed. Shit, you are too strong. Wang Yuan smiled and said, you are just at the level of spiritual sea realm, even without a breakthrough of gold core, and you could kill 10 spirit beasts of exceptional gold core realm. You are formidable. Just had good luck. Jian Wushuang smiled. Only he himself knew how hard and arduous it was in the past 6 months to complete the task of killing 10 spirit beasts at the level of exceptional gold core realm. And where is the second? Jian Wushuang asked. When he came back, he saw Wang Yuan and Su Rou without Yang Zixuan. The second's experience tasks were easier than yours, and he is also so powerful, so it took him only a month to finish all the tasks of 3 stages. However, he received a new experience task after he just returned Dragon Palace, and he hasn't come back yet, Wang Yuan said. Another experience task? Jian Wushuang sighed. The second was stimulated by the Earth Dragon list, and thus he is cultivating much more than anyone else, Wang said. Earthly Dragon list? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. He also longed for a placing on the Earth Dragon list very much, but his strength was still far from it. The second works very hard, so I also should work harder. Jian Wushuang smiled. Chapter 98. Chapter 98. Excoriation. It was night, within the empty ground of a manor. Zoom! 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 Streaks of scorching sword shadow were chopped out fiercely one after another, and the high temperatures seemed to burn the air. Soon after, Jian Wushuang sheathed his sword and stood still. As a 6,000-point valued sword skill of blood and fire is way better than formless sword wave in the term of power, and its moves are more exquisite. I can only execute the 5th move with my current ability. I have to study for a period of time before executing the 6th move, Jian Wushuang said to himself. However, it would definitely shock many if they knew that Jian Wushuang could execute the 5th move of sword skill of blood and fire. If a man could execute the 5th move of sword skill of blood and fire, it meant that he could pass the 7th level of Dragon Gate without difficulty. Everyone in the Dragon Palace knew that Jian Wushuang was most versed in the sword essences of both the gale and the earth. In addition, the sword skill of blood and fire was just exchanged from Secret Pavilion that day. Early morning the next day, Jian Wushuang entered the Hall of Fire, which was one of the 4 halls of earth, fire, water, and wind. Today, a palace master would give a lesson in the fire temple. although Jian Wushuang had comprehended the sword essence of raging fire for half a year. He comprehended it by himself. Therefore, in the Dragon Palace, he would listen carefully to the palace master. Casually sitting in the corner of the fire temple, Jian Wushuang relaxed with closed eyes and awaited the palace master. The surrounding disciples of Dragon Palace looked at him from time to time with a weird gaze. He's Swordsman. Why does he come here? People in the fire temple comprehended the fierce fire realm. But Jian Wushuang has comprehended the sword essence of gale and earth. Does he want to comprehend the fierce fire realm? A man can comprehend 3 realms at the same time. Are you kidding me? Swordsman is too ambitious. The more ambitious he is, the more foolish he is. Trying 3 realms at the same time. Who is he? You are right. It's exceedingly hard to comprehend 2 realms at the same time. Even a peerless genius would suffer from fatigue if he comprehended 3 realms. Those disciples of Dragon Palace chatted with each other casually. Their voices were not loud but not quiet either. They did not care whether Jian Wushuang heard it or not. Whatever they said, Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to them. He was still relaxing with closed eyes. Soon after, the palace master of the fire temple arrived. He looked at Jian Wushuang with amazement, and then sat and gave a lesson with his legs crossed. After an hour, this palace master of the fire temple waved goodbye and the listener started to leave. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and a smile emerged. Since half a year ago, I have poured through the sword principle of fierce fire alone. I was confused about many things. However, the confusion has been cleared up after the palace master's lesson. Jian Wushuang was satisfied with this lesson. He had benefited a lot from it and was enlightened in many aspects. After that, Jian Wushuang left. In the palaces of the Dragon Palace, white-robed Palace Master White was walking slowly. Palace Master White. A figure appeared suddenly in front of Palace Master White. Temple Master Yao. Palace Master White smiled. Did you finish your class? It is finished. Their comprehension depends on themselves. Temple Master Yao gave a slight smile and said, I came here for a reason. I saw the little disciple Swordsman in the class when I was imparting knowledge. Temple Master Yao said directly. What? Palace Master White was shocked and said, Did Swordsman go to your class? Yeah. Temple Master Yao nodded and said, The brat is noteworthy in the Dragon Palace. His potential absolutely could rank in the top 5 amongst all disciples of the Dragon Palace. That's why I informed you about him. I see. A serious expression emerged on Palace Master White's face. The next thing depends on you. You should exhort him not to waste much time comprehending the fierce fire realm. I'll leave, Temple Master Yao said and then left. Palace Master White stood there with a saturnine and gloomy expression. I didn't expect that Swordsman would try to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire. Doing 3 things at the same time. Comprehending 3 sword essences at the same time? What is he thinking? Palace Master White gave a cold humph and then directly went to the manor where Jian Wushuang lived. In the manor, Jian Wushuang was practicing his sword skill diligently. Swordsman. Palace Master White appeared. Palace Master White. Jian Wushuang put away his sword and paid his respects. I have heard that you have exchanged for the sword skill of blood and fire in the secret pavilion yesterday, and attended the class of Temple Master Yao. Do you want to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire? The expression of Palace Master White grew cold. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Stupid. Idiot. Palace Master White was mad. The martial arts way is fraught with troubles. You are a young talent and have deep comprehension of the sword essences of Gale and Earth. It's highly possible for you to combine the Gale realm with Earth realm in the future. You will be amongst the top ranks if you are in the Yin-Yang Void realm. It's also likely for your strength to equal or even outclass the palace masters of the 4 halls of Earth, Fire, Water, and Wind. You are promising, and our Dragon Palace also possesses the hope to cultivate one more top powerhouse. I have far higher expectations from you. But now, you are so overconfident that you want to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire? The cold gaze hardened in Palace Master White's eyes. Do you know that nobody has endless energy? Doing 2 things at the same time is the limit. Doing three things at the same time is ridiculous. I know that you think your strength will grow if you comprehend three sword essences at the same time. However, you will bear a greater burden. In history, some geniuses of the Dragon Palace had a higher comprehension than you. However, they could only comprehend two realms at the same time. Yes, there have been geniuses who comprehended three realms at the same time, but do you know their results? Take Ling Wuxia, a genius about 10 years ago in the Dragon Palace, as an example. He was a matchless genius. He comprehended three realms at the same time and combined them perfectly. When he was in the initial Gold Core realm, he could kill a powerhouse who was in the exceptional Gold Core realm. He was way better than you. However, his speed of comprehending the sword essence became slower and slower. His cultivation was even stalled in a small bottleneck for many years, and his speed of improvement was also lower and lower. Finally, he was overtaken by other geniuses. Hearing that, Jian Wushuang felt overwhelmed. He didn't realize that he would be excoriated as soon as Palace Master White met him. Swordsman, you should recognize that the road of cultivation will not be reset if you go awry. Do you understand what I said? Palace Master White looked at Jian Wushuang. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded. Jian Wushuang was acquainted with what Palace Master White said. Okay. I have great faith in you. I believe that your future achievement will be greater than those of Bai Cheng and Su Lai. Therefore you can't let me down. Palace Master White became calm. Okay. I have said what I should say. How you walk depends on you. Go ahead. After saying that, Palace Master White left. Chapter 99. Chapter 99. Bold Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang stood with a solemn expression. Palace Master White is right. To learn three kinds of sword essence at the same time is to do three things simultaneously. It is too difficult. But that is only for ordinary geniuses, not for me. Jian Wushuang didn't think he was superior and better than other geniuses. However, his circumstances were quite different. I practiced the heavenly creation skill. It is a defiant form of cultivation. It is different from others. I have also awakened my sword soul and have completely mastered it, while others have not. Jian Wushuang clearly knew what road he should take. The burden was really too heavy for others to master three kinds of sword essence at the same time. But it was easy for Jian Wushuang to do it for his sword soul which had awakened. After staying in the innumerable huge mountains for half a year, he learned three kinds of sword essence at the same time, which was equal to doing three things simultaneously. But he still comprehended them at an amazingly fast speed, way beyond anyone's imagination. There were only three kinds of sword essence, which was definitely not his limit. If there was a chance, he was even eager to study the fourth sword essence of dripping water. After I have completely awakened sword soul, the speed at which I study the sword essence is much faster than others. With such a powerful sword soul, if I only concentrated on studying sword essence of the gale and the earth, I would be wasting all my talent. Jian Wushuang's eyes were resolute. He agreed with Palace Master White's opinion, but he would not follow that advice blindly. After all, he decided on what path he would take. 2 days later, the Temple Master Yao in the Fire Temple gave another lecture, and Jian Wushuang went there to listen once more. When Jian Wushuang appeared again, Temple Master Yao showed a little weird expression. In the lecture, Temple Master Yao directly said, "On the road of martial arts, do not get distracted. It is necessary to remember to devote yourself to studying one road until the end. Then the ultimate result you will achieve will be much better than those who are distracted." Temple Master Yao casually said it, but many disciples of Dragon Palace who listened to the lecture knew that he was talking about Jian Wushuang. So did Jian Wushuang, but he just shrugged with resignation. After Temple Master Yao finished his lecture, many disciples of Dragon Palace went out of the temple one after another. After leaving, Jian Wushuang indistinctly heard people discussing. Who did you think the words of Temple Master Yao referred to in today's lecture? Undoubtedly, he referred to Swordsman. Well, I guess so. He is particularly gifted at sword essence of the gale and the earth. However, he is insatiable, even expecting to master the sword essence of raging fire? He is so courageous that he could learn 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. It has been so hard for me to obtain one kind of essence. It is said that Palace Master White had warned him in person not to do too many things at one time. However, it is obvious that he is not following her advice. He is too arrogant to follow the advice of Palace Master White. In a manner of Dragon Palace, Nangong Jia as well as other 2 disciples of Dragon Palace gathered together and talked about Jian Wushuang. Haha, that swordsman is so bold and naive that he doesn't even listen to Palace Master White. He insists on studying sword essence of raging fire. He will soon come to an unfortunate end. Learning 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. Who does he think he is? What an idiot! I am treating him as my opponent but never expected that he is such an idiot. Haha! Nangong Jia crazily and madly laughed. He was very jealous of Jian Wushuang and bitterly hated Jian Wushuang. The reason for jealousy was that Jian Wushuang had made such great progress after he joined Dragon Palace for only 3 months. He hated that Jian Wushuang had defeated him in front of so many people that he lost all his face and his 12,000 points were gone. Now, Nangong Jia was very pleased to know that Jian Wushuang was so arrogant as to study sword essence of raging fire. However, Palace Master White, who warned Jian Wushuang, was furious after hearing that Jian Wushuang did not follow her advice and continued to study the sword essence of raging fire. Bastard! Arrogance! Ignorance! This guy, does he really think he is so great? Palace Master White was so disappointed about this. There were lots of disciples of Dragon Palace, even many outstanding and talented people, such as Bai Cheng and Su Lai who were senior people, and even Yang Zixuan who passed the 8th level of Dragon Gate as soon as he came into Dragon Palace. However, she thought most highly of Jian Wushuang as he progressed so quickly, and she hoped that he would obtain huge achievements in the future. But now Jian Wushuang was not satisfied with sword essence of the gale and the earth. He insisted on studying sword essence of raging fire. How could she not be sad or angry? Let it go. Palace Master White suddenly calmed down and said, he chooses his own way. Others can't force him to change. Since he wants to take the extreme way, just leave him alone. It's a shame given his talent. Alas! Palace Master White slightly sighed and quickly stopped thinking about it. After that, she put Jian Wushuang to a lower level in her heart. In the manner, Lao San, I hear a lot of disciples of Dragon Palace talking about you, and they say you are at the fork of your cultivation. What's exactly going on? Wang Yuan asked with frowning. I also heard about it, Su Rou said. There is nothing special, Jian Wushuang immediately told them briefly. Lao San, Palace Master White had warned you in person not to study the sword essence of raging fire. Should you not follow her advice? Wang Yuan asked, feeling surprised. Although what Palace Master White said made sense, I'm the one that knows myself best and exactly what to do next, Jian Wushuang replied. Really? Wang Yuan stopped frowning and immediately laughed. Lao San, I trust you. Since you think this choice is right, it is certainly right. As for others, nobody cares what they are thinking. Even Palace Master White may be wrong. Obviously, Wang Yuan disagreed with what Palace Master White said. I agree with you. You should go your own way. What other people say is just a reference, Su Rou said. Jian Wushuang felt touched and warmed to the bottom of his heart, affectionately looking at Wang Yuan and Su Rou. Well, it's time for you to work hard at cultivating. Then your strength will prove that you were right when others look at you, Wang Yuan said and laughed. Of course, Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. As time passed, Jian Wushuang persisted in cultivating his own way, ignoring the disciples of the Dragon Palace doubts. Whenever there was a temple master of Fire Temple using swords, Jian Wushuang would get there to listen to their lessons. Thus, his comprehension of the sword essence of raging fire did not fall behind at all. 7 days passed quickly. In his manner, Jian Wushuang finished practicing swordsmanship and was sitting beside the stone table. He took out a pot of wine and drank it. 10 days passed. After getting the bottleneck-breaking elixir, I immediately swallowed it. But I didn't sense the sign of a breakthrough until now. It seems that the first bottleneck-breaking elixir is unable to take effect. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed.